It is Wednesday. Has everybody gotten back on track of knowing what day it is?
Yeah, I think I'm back.
You're good?
Yeah. This Monday was the first day where I felt like, all right, the new year's here.
There have been a couple moments I've second guessed myself, like just a moment ago. Pretty sure it's Wednesday. Not 100% sure it's Wednesday. Decided to go with Wednesday. Thankfully, I was accurate. And we got a good show for you today. I got some cool stuff I want to talk about today. Big picture question that I want to ask, because we're going to have Mike Golic Jr. on at 9:20 to talk Notre Dame. Is Notre Dame more likable than ever? And I want you to think about that before you just immediately say no, or before you immediately say yes, because I do think that there was a time, maybe a little bit before most of us were alive or even watching football, that they almost had to be likable because there were just so few options, and they were one of the very few options.
Yeah.
And there were so very few national brands. And there then became a time a little bit later when we were alive, but probably not dialed into it, where other programs became very unlikable. Maybe your Miamis, your Florida States, your Oklahomas, in which Notre Dame became more likable at that point. But I found this interesting because at the Orange Bowl last week, Alyssa Lang and I were working together a lot, and she kept bringing this up, and she kept saying that. And she's like, I asked Marcus Freeman, like, how did you just get this team to be so likable? Like, I keep finding myself rooting for you guys, and I don't know why. And then I saw Ari Wasserman, our buddy from the On3, had an article yesterday essentially saying the same thing about this Notre Dame football team and just them being so likable. And I do believe that if you were to say, give me the top 5 teams in college football that are the easiest to hate, I think most people are going to give you Notre Dame. But I don't think they're going to give it to you because of former players, former teams, how teams acted. I think it's going to be more from an administrative standpoint. The conference situation, the TV revenue situation. Exactly.
Yeah.
Essentially playing with their own ball on their own court a lot of the times.
And there's a certain level of like superiority complex that I think irritates a lot of people.
And I don't think anybody would really push back on that. Even
just
Notre
listen
Dame
to one Domer call. It's the academic standards.
It will give you a little bit of a different view on things. But I just thought it was interesting, Greg, because you and I have a little bit of a different angle.
Yeah.
You've actually been in coaches' meetings with Al Golden and Marcus Freeman and Mike Denbrock and some of the players. I had a chance at the Sugar Bowl to visit with some of the players, talked to Freeman a couple of times.
Yeah.
Talked to Denbrock and Golden a lot. I've only met Al Golden twice. I met him at Media Day, talked to him for a while.
He's awesome.
And then I talked to him before the game for like 10 minutes straight. He saw me after the field in the Orange Bowl and like made a beeline over to me. He's like, told you. And I was just like, nice to see you again. I'm not sure he has any idea what my name is or what I do.
Congrats, Coach.
He's just great guy.
Yeah.
And so I also am falling for that trap of this team very likable. For me, a little bit of a different reason though. Like, go back and watch some of Riley Mills' film when he was playing. Like, go watch how Howard Cross plays. This offensive line that is not, they're not a bunch of the guys that Andy Staples was talking about that's coming in from Canada yesterday. Like, some of them semi-highly recruited, but they're not all Quentin Nelsons as far as God's gifts.
No.
But they work.
Yeah.
And they grind. And that's, I think, why I have an appreciation for this team. They tackle, they block, they do the little things. There doesn't seem to be a lot of me ball. There's not a lot of hero ball happening. So, yeah, they are likable as far as I'm concerned. Like, just watching the way they play football is likable to me.
There's no me ball with them, man. Like, and that's what I love about them. It doesn't matter. Riley Leonard throws for 90 yards in the game against Georgia. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Doesn't matter.
Downhill passing game non-existent, Greg.
Yes, can't do it. It's amazing. It just, they're not a stat stuffer team. They're not a me guy team. No one on that team cares at all about what their final tally looks like in the box score. And that's very different. That's very different from a lot of players in college football, several of which play in our state for the last few years. Like, a lot of people care about them and their stats and their numbers and give me the Heisman and, stuff like that. I think there's a lot to like about Notre Dame because it's an unselfish group that has found unique ways to win. How many different possessions have they stolen on special teams? Plus, how do you not love Marcus Freeman? Like, seriously, like the guy is just one of my favorites for years and years and years. How do you not love Marcus Freeman? Like, I'd run through a wall for Marcus Freeman. I don't care. I actually like Ryan Day quite a bit as well. I do. But I would be thrilled if Notre Dame won the national championship for Marcus Freeman and that team, having gotten to know them over the last couple of weeks and really over the last couple of years. He's just awesome. And I think it's going to be a blast to watch him because I think there is a path for victory, but you're right. This is the first time I can ever remember ever. You know what? I'll give you an example. Like, don't get me wrong. Like our kids, we have kids close in age. Like our kids are going to follow the leader right now. Like I try to if I go somewhere new, I'll bring something home for my sons. May's not quite old enough yet. Like when I went to Oregon a couple of years ago, I got Vince an Oregon hat. He wore that Oregon hat that happened to be lime yellow, neon, glow in the dark for 3 straight weeks. Thank God it wasn't around school picture time. But I'm telling you, it was nonstop. There's probably 3 or 4 other. I brought him a North Carolina hat. I brought him I bring him back some stuff every couple times. If I haven't been somewhere before, I try to bring something home for him. Haven't been to Notre Dame before, bought him and JG a hoodie. He's like the biggest Notre Dame fan. He loves their coach. He loves the quarterbacks from Alabama. I'm from Alabama. He loves that. You know what I mean? They're a very, especially for this part of the country, I think they're a very likable team because they're built to me in a way that is familiar to an SEC fan. You know what? You know how Kirby described their defense? Like they're LSU with Chief. Like press man, you know what you're getting.
Yep.
Like they're Arkansas when John Chavis was there. Like there's
they run these corny ass 3-man games that get home, and you're like, that doesn't work against anybody else.
They're awesome.
It's not. I say corny because other teams rarely can make those go.
Well, their linebackers are really good. That helps too.
It does.
They use picks and stunts.
The only teams that it usually works for are like Georgia, Oregon. This year, maybe South Carolina, just because they were so studied at how to play the game. And they play the game that way. They play the game in a very intelligent manner.
They do. They're really smart. But I think when kids like them, and don't get me wrong, maybe it's because they're winning. I don't know. But I think Vince has watched all their games in the playoffs. We've let him stay up late to watch those games. He's watched, and granted, 2 of them were during Christmas break, so that made it easy. Last Thursday, I think, was a little tougher, but you had to get through Friday, and we got through it. But I look at, if the kids like them, then there's got to be something that the adults like as well, beyond the X's and the O's that you and I see that are very likable.
It's just an interesting question that I thought, because then when I saw Ari Wasserman write an article about it after I talked to Alyssa about it, and after having a chance to be around him, I was just like, kind of see what everybody else thinks about this, how everybody else feels about this. I saw the On3 national championship roster breakdown, and you and I are going to talk a little Notre Dame, Ohio State rosters today. 10 5-stars, 45 4-stars, 14 3-stars for Ohio State. You want to take a guess at how many 5-stars Notre Dame has? According to the On3 industry recruit rankings?
3.
No.
4.
No.
0.
2.
0. None.
But what about how many 5-star pluses?
That's 16.
Check the tape on that real quick. See where that is. Yeah.
How many 6 stars?
So there's a lot of things about them that are unique, that are cool, and I understand that brand has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But if you can look past that and look at this team and how they operate, I think that they do become very likable. I don't know if I'm going to say more likable than ever. Listen, there's a lot of Notre Dame definitives that are being thrown around right now. I saw yesterday one of our friends from Iris Illustrated, not Brian Driscoll, who joined the show last week, but a guy who does the show with him, said that Jeremiah Love is the greatest running back in Notre Dame history. I was like, hold on a second, sir.
He's pretty filthy.
Now, if you want to talk about athletic skill set, then
upside,
God-given ability, I will give you that. But
I don't know if I can give you that, but I understand the prisoner of the moment mentality.
There were 2 on one team that I might take ahead of him, and that was Reggie Brooks and Jerome Bettis.
Jeremiah Love's pretty dirty.
I'm not saying he's not, but I watched Jerome Bettis play in college, so I know how hard he was to tackle.
How old were you?
I was young.
Oh,
I was young. But I remember when they came out in the Sugar Bowl and put those green jerseys on, it was the first time I had ever seen it, and I was like, good Lord. And then he went for like 220. And that was when Lou Holtz gave him the green jerseys after they warmed up.
yeah.
So you already saw them in warm-ups, and you didn't know, and then they literally come out of the tunnel of those things, and you're just like, oh, boy.
Yep.
This is going to be good.
The thing about it, too, with Notre Dame, I think they're such a throwback. Like, I think for us, maybe not for everybody, but for us, like, they're not winning games 48-42. They don't have the ridiculous roster that Cole just referenced. Like, they're not an all-star team. If anything, their all-stars are all hurt. Like, all their best players are hurt.
Greg, our spotter and stats guy, it wasn't the usual ones for the radio call that we did for the Sugar Bowl. We were walking out of that game. They both go, what a miserable football game. I was like, you need to quit your job.
Out of the Sugar Bowl?
Yes. I was like, seriously, you need to quit. Don't come back.
Dang.
I was like, Tom, do not invite those guys back again. If you think that was a miserable football game, I don't know what to tell you. And, I mean, same thing with Penn State was the same game for 3.5 quarters. And I loved every second of it. So yeah, you're right. There's an aspect to how they operate that I think is just, it's easy to appreciate.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about it throughout the course of the show today. Ron Slay's coming up with us next. Big win for Auburn last night. Tough one for Bama last night on the hardwood. Josh Pate's with us at 8 a.m. this morning. No idea what we're going to get into with him. Probably weather.
Why is it cold?
Some sort of climate shift.
Yeah, I was under the impression that it was climate change, so I don't know why it's so dang cold. I'm about over it.
Easy.
John?
Take that down the hall.
I'm going to call him John Pate.
Do you by chance want to take a guess at who Notre Dame's all-time leading rusher is?
All-time leading rusher?
Most rushing yards in school history. As a matter of fact, I think I could ask you the top 5, and I don't think you could get more than one.
Is it one of the 4 horsemen?
No.
Did any of them play in 1924?
You will know the name of the all-time leader, I believe. And I think there is one other in the top 5 that I think you will be very familiar with, but it's shocking when you think about the great backs that have played there. Autry Denson's the all-time leading rusher in Notre Dame history.
Never in a million years would I have gotten that.
Alan Pinkett is next. Now, he was early 80s, so
never
a lot of people wouldn't have known.
Never heard of him.
Old Vargas Ferguson, third. Played in the 70s. No, Vargas.
Fergie?
Darius Walker, fourth.
When did he play?
04, 05, 06.
I don't remember him.
Well, I think that was some dark times for Notre Dame, if I'm not mistaken. Josh Adams.
I know Josh Adams.
15, 16, 17.
Yeah. I remember him.
Not Josh Jacobs, Josh Adams.
Oh, never mind.
Julius Jones, 6.
Julius Jones would have been probably, he's a great cowboy. So
a lot of that is probably on just like recruiting prowess. I mean, he came in as, wasn't he going to maybe play quarterback?
I don't know.
And he was like, he was a 5-star plus diamond.
No, that was Julio Jones.
He's a 5-star diamond. Jerome Heavens.
5-star diamond.
By the way, if Jerome Heavens, who played in 75 to 78, was around now for NIL playing at Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine the deals. I mean, he'd have a deal with God.
Think about this. He's wearing number 30. Dude, he's got a crossbar face mask.
Who, Jerome Heavens?
Yes.
What do you think God would pay?
He looks huge.
He looks enormous. Look at his legs. He's got a crossbar face mask. So he was a running back that doubled as a defensive lineman.
2,682 career yards, 75, 76, 77, 78. Sierra Wood, who's a little bit more recent, would be 8th. Phil Carter would be 9th, 70s, 80s. And then old George Gipp would be the 10th all-time leading rusher.
Win one for the
They
Gipper?
won one for him. Yep. And he ran for 2,300 yards in his career.
Wow.
All-time leading passer.
All-time
leading passer. You want to take a shot at that?
Brady Quinn?
Yeah. He has pretty much all the passing records.
Yeah, I was going to say Brady Quinn or Jimmy Clausen. Feels pretty simple.
Now, he does not have single game.
Ian Book?
No.
Single game?
This is actually really cool.
Deshaun Kaiser?
No. No. Joe Theismann. 526 yards against USC in 1970.
That's sick.
That's literally 1,020 yards in today's football.
Yeah, but if it was at USC, there's no weather.
I'm going to have to go see the tape. I don't know.
I saw Joe Theismann a couple weeks ago.
Do you have a
South
projector thing that we can watch the 1970 film on?
Joe Theismann has a phenomenal thing to say to people before they do games. He comes up to you, and I've known Joe for a little while now, just bouncing around, randomly. Well, it's a small world. Us quarterbacks stick together. Anyways, he goes, I know of all people, I'm the last one that should be telling you this, but break a leg. That's what he says as you're getting ready to go on the air.
It's actually good.
It's actually really good material.
There are some dad jokes that are just so corny and dumb. They're hilarious, and that's one of them.
That's a good one.
I would laugh out loud if he
We're
told
about
me
to go on the air. We're literally a little anxious. First playoff game. It's 3 minutes before we go on the air. I know I'm the last one that should be telling you this, but break a leg.
You know what the craziest part about, like we talked about Janai Broom's injury the other day.
Mm-hmm.
The craziest part about that Theismann injury is Lawrence Taylor's reaction.
Yes.
Because it's severe panic. Like he knew what he did immediately. And he has said in interviews that he heard it.
I'm sure he did.
Wild to think about, but we'll talk about that. Some other stuff that we're going to get to today. Colorado has made a decision that is flying under the radar that could impact college football greatly. We need to discuss that. Who has been the MVP of the college football playoff thus far? And if you were to name it for the entire tournament, do you think that that's who will get it after Monday night's game? We'll go into that roster breakdown of Ohio State and Notre Dame a little bit more. The portal window looks like it could be changing. How's that going to affect college football? And we have big portal quarterback news. But you're going to have to wait on all that. It's coming a little bit later in the show. You never have to wait to go to Bromberg's, though, Greg.
No, Bromberg's is great. 2 locations for you. And the sales staff's incredible. My wife actually went in there yesterday. They just take such good care of you. They go the extra mile to make sure that you are taken care of and that you feel good about what you've done when you make purchases at Bromberg's. It's truly amazing. You'll be very appreciative of the type of service that you receive. You'll understand what I'm talking about when you go in there and take a look at the natural diamonds, the incredible jewelry, the watch selection that they have. They are an authorized Rolex dealer. So go and check that out as well. It's a terrific, terrific place. And I know that you guys will feel great about it the same way I do. That's why it's the only place I would shop if I were in the market for something luxurious for my family. So go and check them out. One of their 2 locations. It's Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some SEC basketball. It's a big night last night. Tough one for Bama. Huge win for Auburn in a lot of different ways. Ron Slay was on the call for it. He's with us next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, Wednesday, January 15th, 7:22 a.m., McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to take a little bit of a break from college football and talk a little bit of college basketball. Ron Slay was on the call for Auburn, Mississippi State last night. Top 25 win for Bruce Pearl, and they did it in dominant fashion. Slay, you had a pretty good time there in the crowd with the fans. Was that kind of part of the plan going in? You wanted to just experience that environment and give everybody a feel for what it was like inside the jungle?
Absolutely, man. I think when you look at the college atmosphere, Auburn did it right. When they came with the new Neville Arena, man, and put the fans and the students right there around the court, you created a chaotic atmosphere. And hence the jungle, it's every bit of that. So I had to go up there and experience. And then I needed the people at home to let that come across the TV screen so they could understand just how wild it was at all times, too. That's the thing.
So, Slay, take us inside. Like, honestly, I'm not trying to say y'all are soft or anything. How does that affect basketball players? Like, we understand, like, Greg's a quarterback. I played center. We had to communicate a lot. We go on the road. Like, we see quarterbacks go to the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, he can't talk to anybody. Like, we don't know what's happening there. Like, take us inside how an environment like that really affects a road team, like things that we may not just see on television.
It's what it is, man. It's how they come out and start. The momentum can shift. And Greg, I'm gonna let that little punch right there that Cole threw at us. Talking about the soft. Yeah, I'm gonna let that slide.
That's all right. That's all right. He didn't mean it.
From one guy that played in the trenches and would be similar to the trenches in the post. I'm gonna just let that slide off my shoulder. But
that's all right.
I think, man, it plays a big part. Momentum is huge in any sport, and when a crowd is involved the way they are from the opening tip, it's a different mentality that you got to have to go on the road to try to combat that. And I'm not sure that a lot of people understand just what the jungle is. And it affects you. It affects your communication, like you talked about. It takes a veteran bunch to come out and be able to get some easy buckets. But the onslaught, man, it started with Baker Mazzara, then Chaney Johnson. And before you know it, you're looking up, even trying to dig out of the hole, getting some good shots. That crowd, man, get to pushing. And not only does it affect you, but it affects the home team who feeds off of it. So that's the problem.
When you combine the 3 runs they made in the first half, it was 30-1 in those 3 combined runs.
Yeah.
How do you stop that? And you have a team that is that much in sync, when you have a team that's on such a roll, to have a 10-0, a 13-1, and a 7-0 run. How do you slow that down? How do you avoid that if you're an opponent?
You got to steal some easy buckets, Greg. Like, that's the only way you can do it. You got to get some things where you can set your defense. The problem is when you're turning the ball over at the clip that Mississippi State was doing and getting shot blocks that lead to them getting out and running. And this is just not an ordinary team that's running. This is a team that's running to the three-point line, and you got guys diving to the basket. So you're getting a dunk or a three-point, which is almost like a 5-point swing every single time you have a turnover or a block shot. But I thought Mississippi State, man, was a little bit hesitant. They had something good as far as the impact of going inside. Nobody was doubling, but they were looking to run something different as far as a handoff with Cam Matthews. And I thought they should have been going in and trying to score inside. That would have settled things down. And you would also had the opportunity to open up things for Josh Hubbard outside. So, man, Auburn, they stuck with what they did, and people stepped up. That I don't think when you look at it, you thought the impact was going to be that great from the guys, even though we highlighted Chaney Johnson and Baker Mazzara. But what Dylan Cardwell did down low, man, as far as blocking shots and being an intimidator, was huge in the absence of Janai Broome.
And I think a lot of us, like you said, thought Mississippi State would try to get that Auburn front line in foul trouble, since that was kind of the book on them anyway going in.
Yep.
What did you learn about this Auburn team last night? Because I think a lot of us said, okay, no Janai Broome, been the best player in the country thus far. Yeah, they have a couple other bodies. They're just not capable of being similar than when he's in the game. He can stretch the floor a little bit. He's obviously more athletic inside. He's veteran, been there, rebounds, blocks. What did you learn about this team without Janai Broome on the floor?
Man, I learned that they are better defensively when Janai Broome is not on the floor. And that's not a slight to him. It's just you have a more athletic guy sticking in there than Janai Broome is. You put Chaney Johnson in there with Cardwell, and you automatically get a guy that's 6'10", like a pogo stick with long lengths, and active, especially when he's slowing down and playing his style of ball. So you automatically get a little bit better when you're able to press, you're able to get out there and switch if need be. And defensively, that's it. Like, Janai Broome is a terrific player, averaging about 2.5 blocks a game. But, man, Chaney Johnson and Cardwell, they do a terrific job of staying vertical when guys are coming in there trying to challenge. And then on the weak side, those blocks, man, it feeds it in a transition. So they're loaded. I mean, to simply say they're a loaded team, and they didn't even have their backcourt going like their backcourt likes to go. It was just pure dominance from the wings and the interior guys.
You would think they'd give up a little in rim protection, though, just how big and physical just how big and physical they are with Broome in the lineup. I understand that they're more athletic, but to have, as many field goals as they do block shots in the first half of the game is pretty ridiculous. I mean, Is that more about Mississippi State, or is that more about whether or not this team actually can protect the rim without Janai Broome in the lineup?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, Greg. When you look at it, there was a matchup problem in a sense, too. Like, Mississippi State isn't the Mississippi State of last year where you got a 6'10" guy in there, Tolu Smith, able to be the anchor down low and pound the rock inside. You had a 7-footer coming off the bench. That's not the same time. A lot of times Cam Matthews at 6'7", 6'8" was playing the 5 spot versus a Dylan Cardwell. So the advantage was Auburn's going into it. It's just, you can't take too much from it in the SEC because it's going to be different matchups and they're going to pose a different threat. I thought Auburn was able to go out there and handle it. Mississippi State didn't handle it well, but that could all turn around when they go play Saturday. It's going to be a dogfight night in and night out in the SEC, man. And you can't hold on to this loss and think that Mississippi State is a bad team. It was a matchup problem, and the advantage went to Auburn.
I think we've seen that with what's happened a couple of times in the league, specifically with like Florida, Tennessee. Florida last night against Missouri, they had a nice comeback, but there was a minute when that game looked like it was going to get way out of hand. And it's just, you never know. Night in, night out, home court advantage is going to be big. Ron Slay with us was on the call for Auburn, Mississippi State last night. Can hear him on 3 Hour Lunch in Nashville as well on our sister station, 104.5 The Zone. I'm interested how you would describe Tahad Pettiford. A couple more wow plays from that young man last night, but what does Auburn really have in this young man?
Hard-nosed, gritty kid who really listens and wants to be coached. And that's different coming into today's age of player. When you got a guy coming in as McDonald's, it's always about them. Like, he worked his way into the lineup and to grab hold of a veteran team at the point guard spot and them be able to rely on him the way they do. Man, it is tremendous what the ceiling is for this young man. I didn't know he was as athletic as he is. The man took off, stole the ball, one dribble from half court, and did a windmill with his right hand. Now, Cole, Greg, what you got to understand, this man shoots left. So, I mean, man, and the stoic, to understand that you got veteran guys who, in a sense, man, with Bruce Pearl's guards, they're greedy. Like, they want to have the opportunity to score. So to be able to keep them happy and still be a threat offensively with your offense, man, that point guard, man, Tahad Pettiford has really impressed me. And this goes with the class of freshmen in the SEC, which I think are undervalued in a bit because you got so many stars when you talk about Mark Sears, Kai Ziegler, Janai Broome, Walter Clayton Jr., so forth and so on. But this freshman crop that's in the SEC, man, is something to marvel at.
Is he a legit 6'1"? I mean, we see height sometimes and they're just a little bit off, but like to do the things he's doing at 6'1" too, you're kind of like, hold on a second.
Right. And I'm going to tell you this. This is what you got to understand. It's not the Flintstones. Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone walking around with their shoes off. So basketball players, we walk around with our shoes on, so I'm going to say 6'1". But what he is with his shoes off, And that doesn't matter because he's not walking around with his shoes off.
I'm going to be honest with you, Ron. I had no idea where you were going with the Flintstones analogy there, but it ended up working for you. Like, listen, when you reference the Flintstones and McDonald's, you're old school. I'm just going to throw it out there right now because my grandfather was one of the only few other people that would say McDonald's all the time.
Not McDowell's.
No. Not McDonald's.
Not McDonald's. Not the golden arches. The arches.
Slay, I know you probably hadn't been able to see all of it, but what did Alabama's loss to Ole Miss tell you last night about those two teams?
Man, Ole Miss is talented. They got high potent guys that can score from everywhere. And Malik Deal, the way he's been playing at the center spot, Chris Beard it seems to me, has been at a struggle with him to buy in on playing the 5 spot, knowing that you're going to be a mismatch on the offensive end. But we need you, if you're going to play the 5, to rebound. You got so many guys out there, Morrell, Sean Padula, you got Juju Murray, you got so many different guys that can score the ball. You just got to be able to buy into who you are, settling down, passing up good shots to get great shots. And then what you got to understand is I thought the biggest tweak for Chris Beard in this matchup was he usually been playing with 2 guards, 2 point guards on the floor with Padula and Murray. He brought Murray off the bench. That was humongous to me. I thought that was the move that he should have made early in the season. He made it now, and it paid off for him, putting the guy Dre Davis in there instead of Jalen Murray. It was big time. So now you get a guy coming off the bench playing 31 that packs a punch. It's different. But for Alabama to have that many turnovers, that's tough. That's tough to overcome. 21 turnovers at home, the way they like to shoot the ball, that's not conducive to the way they play. And it is for Ole Miss, who likes to get out and run.
Ron, thanks for the time, man. I know it was a late night, early morning. We appreciate you hopping on with us. Always fun. Tell the folks on 3 Hour Lunch we said hello, and we'll catch up soon.
No doubt, Greg. Make sure I'm gonna send them coconuts that the guy had on in the stands in the jungle. Make sure Cole he gets all.
Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. I promise you. Not a single person.
Hey, fellas.
Thanks, Ron. Ron Slay of the SEC Network and 104.5 The Zone in Nashville. Great stuff there. It was a nice win for Auburn last night, and I think mainly, Greg, just because we didn't know what to expect without Broome. Didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. The 9th 20-point win over an AP-ranked opponent in program history. 6 of those under Bruce Pearl. Win streak's now 9 for Auburn. Their points per game differential there is 24. 10th game with at least 10 blocks and 10 steals under Bruce Pearl. Since the beginning of last season, that's twice as many as any other SEC team. The closest would be Ole Miss with 4. And Auburn has 7 double-digit wins versus AP-ranked opponents since the start of last season. That's the second most in Division I. Only UConn has more. So just keep notching the lines of history for Bruce Pearl as Auburn's head basketball coach. It is not even debatable the greatest that has done it at Auburn. And I think it's time to start talking about him as one of the greatest coaches in Auburn history, not just basketball coaches. We'll stay on the hardwood, come back, talk a little bit of Alabama, what happened on that side of the state. But first, tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're tired, if you just lack energy, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. Could be the effects of low testosterone, and this is what they're going to do for you. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Schedule the free consultation. You'll go in. You'll get a free PSA test, a free testosterone test. So they'll figure out exactly what's going on with your health right then, right there. And if they can help you, they're going to present their options. Also, weight loss options that they have. And they'll give you 10% off any of those services by mentioning Cube when you walk in the front door. Get all the facts at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Great staff, great people, no pressure, low stress, locker room environment, holistic approach to health and wellness. And don't forget this. This is important. Minimal upfront cost for the programs that they offer. That's different than other places in town. Book your free consult today at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit of Alabama hoops and then go back into the national championship game. That's all next right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Wild night in SEC basketball last night. And as Ron Slay said, there's going to be nights you don't know what you're going to get in this league because the home court environments are going to be great. Almost every team feels like they're talented, and some teams can just give you different things on different nights. Missouri gets the win over number 5 Florida last night, 83-82. And this was one that at the half was 50-34. Missouri was up. So that one almost turned into what Florida-Tennessee was the week before. Kentucky takes down A&M. They've lost a couple straight now, 81-69. LSU over Arkansas. You guys want to take a guess how many SEC wins Coach Cal has?
Over.
4.
He's got 4?
0 for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure they lost last night.
It's not going great, but I'm sure they'll get it right.
So if he somehow found a way to get 4 wins by losing last night, that's pretty impressive. I was trying to do the math on that.
You went 0 for. I was trying to follow up with 4. So
no, I like it.
Yeah, there you go. Ole Miss gets Alabama last night. The number 21 team in the nation over the number 4 team in the nation, 74-64. Turnovers the big issue for the Crimson Tide. 21 turnovers in this game, and then just not a great night from behind the three-point line. Greg, 5 of 20 from behind the three-point line. They shoot 42% from the floor. Just couldn't really find a way to consistently get it going. Mark Sears, 2 for 8, 1 for 4 from behind the three-point line. Just 11 points. Holloway pretty good off the bench. 5 for 6, 1 for 2 from behind the three-point line. He had 15 points, led the way for the Crimson Tide. Only 2 players in double figures. Just that's not the offensive output we're used to seeing from Alabama.
It was sloppy, tons of turnovers. They were jumping the lanes most of the night. There were really no adjustments made. It was just one of those nights. It was a tough watch. It was frustrating kind of from the start. But it was really the turnovers, man, that were just eye-opening. I mean, it's just like, goodness gracious alive. Then couple that with not being able to hit anything from beyond the arc in the second half. It was a tough watch, man. It really was.
And when you're not playing well, Ole Miss a good basketball team. Chris Beard can coach. I know a lot of people don't like him for different reasons. Some of that may be rightful, but the guy can coach basketball.
You're going to lose games in this league. Like
if you're like Andy Burcham said on Tuesday, it's just going to happen.
I hate losing, but hopefully good comes of it. Like if there's one thing that we've taken from the Ohio State experience the last month and a half is that good things can come from losing. And you ain't running the table in the league this year. It's just not going to happen. So I think the winner of the SEC is going to have 4 losses. That's at least what the experts think. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But that was a bit of a recipe last night that I think a lot of teams are going to try to recreate. So now it's going to be up to Bama and Nate Oates to kind of find a way around it.
It was a historic night for different reasons, though. It was the first road win in program history against an AP top 5 team in Ole Miss basketball history. They were 0 for 34 in that spot. Snapped a 16-game losing streak against AP ranked teams. That was the longest active losing streak in the Southeastern Conference. Alabama held under 70 points for the first time since the Sweet 16 against San Diego State. And this actually a really cool note from this game. First 4-0 start in SEC play since 2012-2013 for Ole Miss also. Season high 21 turnovers for Alabama. Made 20 field goals. Ole Miss scored 19 points off of those 21 turnovers. But how about this one? Malik Dia last night, 23 points, 19 boards. First Ole Miss player with 20 points and 15 rebounds since against an AP ranked opponent since Keith Carter against Temple in 1997.
Not the AD.
The athletic director.
No. Not him. What year?
1997.
He's ancient. Who played college in the 90s?
Anybody who did should be put to rest.
Or at least they need like a walker to get around.
I would be on that list, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you played in 2000.
Sam Hutchins tweeted this out to that note. Ole Miss beat writer for the Clarion Ledger. Keith Carter had 33 points, 15 boards. He sank 7 3-pointers in the second half alone in that game against Temple.
7?
I knew Keith Carter played basketball at Ole Miss. I didn't know he was that guy at Ole Miss.
He can hoop?
Sounds like it. I mean, 97 wasn't, Bob Cousy era. There were some athletes playing.
Some?
I mean, I watched Chris Porter.
Steroids weren't as effective in basketball.
Stop it.
What?
Stop.
I don't understand what the problem was.
You think every athlete pre-2000 was roided out of his mind?
Yes.
Golf,
Look at him.
tennis,
Yep.
bowling.
Yep. Who's the man?
Olympics.
I am.
I think that was a little after 2000, by the way. It's who do you think you are? I am.
Who cares?
That year, Tim Duncan and Tracy McGrady were rookies.
Definitely. Roids.
That's how long ago it was.
When I see Tim Duncan, first thing I think, roided. Like, look at the horse steroids in that guy.
We could tell, especially look at his hair.
First thing I think. Who won a national title in 97?
In hoop?
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
And who was that? That was not was that like Walter McCarty? Trying to think who all was on that team.
I will look.
Ooh, Ron Mercer.
Oh, dude, Ron Mercer could shoot.
Jamal McGlure.
Ron Mercer.
Ron Mercer went on a, if I'm not mistaken, 97 was Arizona.
They beat Kentucky. Kentucky won the next year?
How did I not know this? I watched that team in that building down the street.
Oh, my gosh.
They beat God in that building down the street. I watched them.
The guy that's NIL money for heavens.
I watched Miles Simon and Mike Bibby beat God in the BJCC. Not many people can say they beat God.
Who's God?
Sham God.
Sham God?
God Sham God.
God Sham God was his name?
Because they upset Kansas, who had Jacques Vaughn, Paul Pierce, Rafe LaFrance, and then all the tickets were gone. All the Kansas fans left.
We can both be right. They actually won the championship in 97-98 season.
Yeah, that's
so
what
that does count.
Basketball allows you to be
Yes.
a little bit of both.
You have a little
sometimes.
flexibility. Tubby Smith.
But the 97-98 Kentucky team did not beat God.
No.
Just saying.
What, fool me once? I
Just
won't let
saying.
it happen again.
But those were some athletic dudes. Like, you're telling me that Jacques Vaughn wasn't athletic? Rafe LaFrance?
They did beat Canisius.
I think it's Canisius, but yeah.
Canisius, yeah, that's what I said.
You're the one that was hammering me on pronunciations yesterday.
That's what I said. Canisius. It's a Jesuit university in Buffalo.
Same thing.
Oh, and that's not the ancient philosopher?
Also, the 97-98
Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
97-98 men's basketball tournament, the last one for Dean Smith.
Really?
So, yeah, it was kind of a long time ago.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. We'll be back with our top three next. Another total random shout out from that tournament in Birmingham, Tennessee, Chattanooga. They had a dude named Johnny Taylor on that team. And I went to watch shoot. I was used to skip school and go watch the shoot arounds.
That makes a lot of sense now.
I probably learned more from that because I'm still referencing it on the show.
Look how you
30
apply
years
it
later.
to your work.
How much algebra have I applied on this show 30 years later? None. How much geometry have I done on this show? None. I hadn't seen it. Johnny Taylor, though, 23 for the mocks. I remember watching that dude shoot around. Some of the dunks he threw down, 6'8", 220. He was big time. I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I do now. But it was great. You could go down there and watch the shoot arounds. It's the middle of the day. Saw like Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace. That's where I saw LaFrance and Jock Vaughn and those guys. I saw God. I mean, not many people have watched God in a shoot around.
No.
I have. So I don't know if they still let you into those, how cool it is like it used to be, but you should just roll right in there. It's no big deal.
God Sham God was his name?
Mm-hmm. Sham God, yeah.
Sorry, I don't want the bug on me. I'm sorry.
What kind of bug is that?
I don't know.
I thought we sealed this building.
I think you're good for now.
Let's get to our top
We
three.
have
Damian, what do you
PS5s
have
and
for
sealing
us today?
but still bugs getting in.
I hadn't seen the PS5 yet.
What's in our
PS4.
top three today?
January 15th, it's National Strawberry Ice Cream Day.
Not against it.
Underrated flavor.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm a fan.
Okay.
Don't get it every day.
That's true. It's
If
also-
you get the expensive kind with like the real strawberries in there, it's
Yeah.
really good.
Who can afford that?
cold.
If you get the Dawes,
That's
It's
a
good.
typical Homewood guy.
yes, me,
That's
uppity
what-
ice cream guy.
Yep.
That's me.
It's also National Bagel Day. Are you back in it?
I'm a big fan of
What do we
bagels.
got going on right here with
It's a
JJ?
lot.
Hang
It's
on,
a lot.
JJ, what are we doing?
It's a lot. Who
What
is
we
that,
doing?
Damien? You know that guy?
Yeah, he used to work here.
Yeah, it's Go Supreme.
Spring.
And
He didn't dress
I
like that when
remember-
he worked here.
Well, no.
No.
I like it.
Oh, we are back.
I know it's cold,
JJ
but it
is
didn't feel like
back.
it's that cold.
JJ is so
It will
back.
be next week.
It looked like he was wearing it's like, hey, I just picked up this great article of clothing from the Jesus and the Technicolor Dream Coat. That's what he looks like he's wearing. And seriously, like, oh, I bought this off the set.
No, Kramer's jacket.
Kramer's jacket. Yes.
Cole, it's your homeboy Pitbull's birthday today.
By the way, bagels. I'm also in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who is
Say
whose
bagels?
birthday?
Pitbull.
He said it's National Bagel Day.
That I just felt random because you said Pitbull and then you said bagel, so I just threw
No,
off
just
for a
going back to
second.
No, you were distracted by
Yes.
JJ.
I did have a bagel in Miami last week. Yeah,
Brag
so
about
there you
it.
go.
There we
All
go.
makes sense. Not
When I
at,
think
not
Miami-
at Pitbull Stadium.
Right, as I say.
When I think Miami, I think bagels.
And Pitbull.
Yeah, we did this last year. Top 3 Pitbull songs. I still
No,
can't
no,
name
no.
any of them. I
No.
don't know any of the names of them.
Doesn't matter. Good businessman.
True that. It's actually New Orleans legend's birthday today, John. It's Drew Brees' birthday.
Mhm.
So the top 3 today. Who are your top 3 New Orleans Saints of all time?
Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling, Willie Rofe. That's it.
Derek Carr, Michael Thomas, and Norman Waldrop.
Tied
who
for
not
third.
part of the team, but
Stop
he
it.
is
Look at
the
this-
ankle
this
doctor.
guy.
He ain't put his hand in that TAFE.
The ankle doctor,
That is true.
foot and ankle specialist.
Tell him put his hand in that TAFE.
Ain't nobody got time for the Saints.
Tie for third, Sam Mills. Shortest, most productive linebacker all time. Y'all don't know about Dome Patrol. It's fine.
I'm not too familiar.
Number 3
Deuce
is
McAllister probably needs to be in there.
Yeah,
You
probably.
putting Archie in there? Put Archie in there. You want to.
I can't
Don't do it.
For my time.
Why can't you?
For my time.
He's
I'm
Archie.
aware of his existence, but can't do
Who's
that.
the Oklahoma running back played on a broken leg? The Oklahoma running back that has a 30 for 30 that got
Oh,
paid.
Marcus
all
Dupree.
Yeah, he played
Oh,
on a
yeah.
broken leg for the Saints.
Really?
Okay, well.
As
Fell out
legend
of good
says.
did.
Non-weight
Okay.
bearing.
A lot of guys back in the day played on like a microfracture and said, my leg was broken.
Yeah, stress fracture.
I love when people pee their pants about that. I'm like, you guys realize there are different levels of fractures, right? Like, it doesn't mean his bone was in half.
No,
Right.
Come on.
Right. Number 3 is Ironhead Craig Hayward.
Oh, so good. Did the Saints make him weigh in before games like the Falcons did?
Probably, but I don't think they care that much. at least in the
Ironhead
early
needs a
part.
30 for 30, man. Some of the stories are just unbelievable.
Number 2 is
Aaron Brooks.
Joe Horn.
Oh.
No, that's your homeboy.
I might push back on that one a little bit. I go Jeremy Shockey before Joe Horn.
Okay.
I know Moore's a giant.
He knocked over one person, and everyone remembers that. But he didn't have no.
He pulled one cell phone from under the goalpost.
Yeah.
Turf, and everybody knows about him.
Correct.
Okay.
And number one, obviously, is Drew Brees.
No Reggie Bush?
Correct.
Over Ricky Jackson.
Reggie Bush was like kind of a sneaky bust. The number 2 overall
Not really
pick,
sneaky.
like,
And you happen to trade your entire
yeah,
3 years worth of draft picks away for it.
correct. Yeah. So
I'm not going to say bust,
Unlike Ricky, who they traded every damn thing away for.
but I would say in return for, probably not.
I guess I could put Roby Coleman in there. Oh, wait, he was for the
So
other side.
you go a New Orleans native, no members of the Dome Patrol in your top 3 Saints all time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Roman Harper.
Number 5.
He's 3.1. I do have his autograph on the helmet back there.
That's
Only
his
autograph
GPA.
I've ever gotten.
Mark Ingram.
Man, it's wild to see how much people in New Orleans love Roman Harper.
Yeah.
Oh,
Walk around New Orleans with him, and it's different.
I'm
a
good.
legend.
And then he'll humble brag about his
About to
condo
say,
down the street.
I'm good.
I'm going to my hotel, then to my condo, back to my hotel, then my condo. We get it. You're rich. All right, off-season conversation. Write this one down. One of the monitors on in studio has Lee Greenwood on their show.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's performing Monday because Monday is everything. It's all happening Monday. It's just if it's happening, it's Monday.
One way or the other, yes.
What other individuals would be on the shelf with Lee Greenwood of having that much success with one thing in their life?
One song. Like one hit wonder. Is that what you're trying to say?
Basically, yes.
Maybe not just a song, but
Just
could be one.
I mean,
Yeah.
still performing it. Like, I don't know, is Vanilla Ice still touring?
Hadn't seen him.
He had a second song that was at least out in a grunge phase that, some people tried to get into. I know that because I
That's
saw
him
it
doing
live
Twisted Tea.
at the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. But
So I guess he's got voice work going for him.
he's been in a couple movies too. Like Greenwood's never been in a movie. Vanilla Ice was in Ninja Turtles. Let's not act like he wasn't getting checks. He was. He may have been held over balconies, but he was getting checks. Who else has done one thing in their life and had that much success on it as Lee Greenwood?
Is this before or after the off-season conversation of the Mount Rushmore of rap that we were discussing?
Well, Greg's already knocked off the other two statues and just put Chingy there with Vanilla Ice.
Right,
So,
Sure.
done.
Okay.
Maybe Josh Pay can help us answer that question. You see him somewhere on YouTube. I believe he has a show that he does. May even be available via podcast. He joins us now on the Buyers Right hotline. Josh, one hit wonder on the same level as Lee Greenwood. Would you have one?
Yeah, I got one for you right now. It's Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble.
That's actually a really good one. And similar to Greenwood, still technically performs
Yeah,
that one thing.
that's true. Yeah.
Has Buffer done anything else?
No. In his entire life, childhood all the way through present day,
That was it.
he is Let's Get Ready to Rumble, and I think he may have volunteered at a shelter one Saturday. Those two things. That's all he's ever done in his
Actually,
whole
no.
life.
He actually has done one other thing, and that was sue the expletive out of people who
Oh, correct,
say
right.
that.
It's
Yeah.
true,
I'm about
man.
to say,
That's
I
That's
am-
what he will do.
Celebrity net worth
I am
has
puckering right now.
Michael Buffer currently rolling in at a cool 400 mil.
Well, when you get one
Get some.
to show up and say it,
Correct.
it's not hard to get to 400. I
That
mean,
means you have to say it
honestly.
800 times.
And I bet he has said it more than that.
We
So-
suck.
Josh, we asked a question on the show yesterday, and I just thought it was interesting and wanted to get your thoughts on it. Thought you'd be a good person to answer this. Next 5 years, more national championships, Southeastern Conference or Big Ten Conference?
The SEC, and mainly I'm being definitive on this to be labeled a homer, but also because no one will take a stand on this. Everyone keeps hem-hawing, as Meemaw would say. I'm going to tell you SEC because I'm going to tell you that there's too much desperation in this conference for these people to take a back seat to anyone. I actually heard this conversation yesterday, so I've got a little leeway on it.
Cheater.
I think that there are also more programs that are capable of doing it. I think you got 4. I'll just call it like I see it. I think you got 4 of them in the Big Ten, and all of them are obvious. The second tier and third tier of the SEC right now, program-wise, resource-wise, or whatever. I mean, part of those tiers are programs like Florida, programs like Oklahoma, programs like Auburn, all of whom were bad to terrible last year on the field. But the difference in the second and third tier in the SEC versus the Big Ten is in the Big Ten, you get into your Illinois, your Wisconsins, your Iowas. I've never seen those programs do it. I've never seen them commit to and or step up to the level that it takes to win a national title. I've seen Auburn do it. I've seen Florida do it. I've seen Oklahoma do it. I've seen LSU do it. I've seen way more of them. Then not to mention your Texas, your Alabama, your Georgia. So I just think there are more opportunities in the South. Now, in any given year, you're going to have a couple of Big Ten in there. You're going to have a couple of SEC in there. And it really matters which team the best team is. Because if the Big Ten can throw an Ohio State at you every year, the caliber that they are this year, it doesn't matter if you've got 4 pretty good teams. That really, really good team's probably going to beat all of them. So I understand the question, as many coaches tell you, Cole. I understand the question. But I still think, man, everybody just assumes status quo is status quo. Okay, so like right now, some Big Ten programs have decided to pay a lot of money, so that means they're going to jump to the forefront. Well, status quo has not maintained itself in this sport for more than a 24-month period for like the past decade and a half. So don't assume that that same sort of thing couldn't magically happen in the South somewhere. And if it's not a private billionaire donor, don't think that programs in the South couldn't get desperate enough where they go the private equity route, which no one really wants to see. But that's my warning. Don't make them desperate enough to try it.
I think it's funny how many people pretend like we don't have money down here. As if just because we don't have a guy that owns Oracle that are just contributing to our freshman class doesn't mean we don't have a lot of guys that are really invested in seeing the program succeed here in the Deep South. Of the programs that have traditionally been at the top of the sport, Georgia kind of comes to mind here, at least in recent terms. They've won 2 national championships in the last 3 years. Meanwhile, it's been a pretty significant exodus. Now, they've done a pretty good job reinforcing some of that talent with what they've added in the portal. But at what point should we begin to get a little concerned about how much turnover Georgia's experiencing in the portal?
They've been concerned about it. I was in Dallas the night before conference championship Saturday and got a call about that, about Georgia. Now that it's happening, we can talk about it. I got a call about that, about Georgia, about how they expected a ton of portal movement. The thing about Georgia is they do not have what we're talking about. This will surprise some people. They do not have that one, whale NIL person that they can go to and say, hey, we need X number of dollars to keep this guy. This is Georgia we're talking about. Everyone just assumes they're swimming in cash. They got a lot of pretty good sized donors, but they don't have the one mega donor. And the ones they do have, maybe the corporate types, your Deltas, your Cokes, they're more interested in branding partnerships than they are NIL partnerships for obvious reasons. I don't really think Delta needs a strong left guard to put them on the map as a company. So I think also you got to consider this too, because this is another thing I think a few programs are at the very least concerned about right now. You're headed towards the revenue sharing era. Okay, well, everyone sees that $20 million figure that keeps getting thrown around. And everybody at a major program just assumes, oh, my team's going to spend $20 million per year. Well, all of them aren't. In fact, there will be many that choose not to allocate that much money for revenue sharing. So let's see where Georgia lands on that front. What I'm telling you is they don't have reason to worry about the caliber of coach they have there or the level of, commitment and passion they have in the locker room or on the staff. They do have reason to worry, and they are not alone, about where they fall in the whole landscape of things and, how Georgia football fits into that equation moving forward. Now, this is not to sound the alarm that they may miss a bowl game or anything in the distant or in the near future, but there are valid concerns. They're not alone. I've said that 3 times. They're not alone in having them, but they are right to have them.
Josh Pate joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. You can watch his show somewhere on YouTube, listen to it somewhere, wherever you get your podcasts. Staying with this subject matter, it breaks yesterday that Colorado is going to do away with their collective. I talk to different people, I feel like almost every day, that they want to know what other people are doing. They're not sure what they're going to do with theirs. Theirs is going to stay and still be a big part of what's happening. What is the future of collectives in college football?
I have no idea. I hate even talking about it. I did see that. I don't know. In fact, and I want you to remember this because I'm not telling you this often, I probably know less about it than you do. I don't know. I would love to live in a collective free world. I think, that's my John Lennon imagine. I would love to live in a world where there just is no collective. Imagine all the people just playing for the game. And I think also, there's this thought, and it's very idealistic, and I have it. I have a very childlike view of this. I would love to get to that revenue sharing portion of our future where everybody's just okay with the cut they're going to get from the media rights, and we don't even need NIL anymore. That sounds pretty foolish, sounds short-sighted, and like we can never really get it out of the equation. And I don't know what the specific thinking is at Colorado. I've heard they just do things different there anyway. So it may be a semantics-based thing. I don't know. Go get Matt Zenitz on. He probably knows a lot more about this than I do.
Yeah, I don't really follow it that much. I'm not that into the collective world and stuff like that because everything I hear is usually contested by another person that I talk to about said subject. It's I just can't keep up with it. I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know who's exaggerating. I'm sure you probably feel the exact same way. There have been some articles around on 247 about teams that could go and make a run towards a national championship next year. Few I align with, few I laugh at. Are there any teams right now that are flying under the radar that you think could be in the mix, playing in the highest possible stage a year from now?
Do either of you scoff at the idea that, I'm going to start with Alabama, closest to home. Would you scoff at the idea Alabama could win a national title next year?
I wouldn't scoff, but I gave a little more pushback than everybody else on the show did.
Okay, because that one's the biggest wild card to me. And the reason I say that, we're very, very early on in this whole 12-team thing. We're also very early on in the new world that portal/NIL has given us from a roster perspective. So we just watched what Ohio State did. We're watching what they've done. I'm a huge believer in the way that they reinfused that roster. They used a lot of their money to keep their guys there. Then they went and got Downs. They went and got McLaughlin. They went and got Judkins. Bama just did that same thing, for example. Penn State's trying to do that same thing of, let's take the money we have, let's invest it in the guys we know, that we trust, and then we'll be selective in the portal. And also, Bama just landed a top 10 class, so they'll probably have a couple of freshman guys that play a role. I just have no clue what they're going to be at quarterback. So that's why I would give serious pause to it. But that one wouldn't shock me. I think out of the others, which were some of the ones that they listed that either of you thought were just non-starters? There's no way I could wrap my mind around that.
I'll give Greg a second to maybe find the list, but we had the conversation of just normal years. It feels like when you're asked this question, you would say, okay, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Miami, USC, whoever it was, you'd have 5 or 6. And we kind of talked about this going into this year, that it just felt like, okay, like who are the known commodities that we just truly believe are not only going to be in this playoff and make a run in it. I understand we still have time, but it's hard to find more than 2 or 3, I feel like, for next year that you feel really good about making a playoff run, not even winning a title, but just getting to the semifinals. There's not a long list of teams, Josh, that I look at and say, oh yeah, feel great about that group. They're definitely going to be in and make a run.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm picking up what you're putting down there. All right. So also, I think we're probably also in an era now where, because of the lack of true championship caliber depth for your major programs, you're probably not looking at as high a level of overall football being played. Or let me rephrase that. You're not looking at a level of bar to be cleared as it was in the past. So that doesn't mean it'll be that way. It just means you may be surprised by who sets the bar during the season as the season goes on. Like, for example, Ohio State's a really good one because they were a 2-loss team ending the regular season. No one would have guessed they were going to place the bar that needed to be cleared to win a title this high, but they have. So I would look, like you just said, at some of these rosters, who has the collection of talent that, if it all comes together, could put that bar that high. But then again, Ohio State won't be Ohio State next year with some of the guys they'll lose. So I don't really know. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think conference by conference. I'm really, at the very least, interested in what Clemson does with the whole Tom Allen move. It's a big deal, by the way, him going outside to hire and overlapping with him going to the portal a few times. That's a big deal for Dabo. It's a huge swerve.
That was one of Greg's top 3 contenders. Like, Greg threw them out ahead of a lot of other people, and it makes sense.
They're going to be good.
See how they finished.
Well, so you're pairing quarterback, offensive coordinator, head coach for another year. The same thing just happened with Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is a multiple year in with the same OC kind of guy. Doesn't mean he's a superstar, future first-round draft pick or anything. Just means there's enough continuity and consistency to where schedule falls your way, bounces fall your way, you could be there. But at the end, you're still probably going to have to put together a very, very special high-level effort for 3 games or 4 games in a playoff. I agree with you. Pains me to say it, but at this point, I don't know who you could just see shooting the moon, threading the needle from a roster perspective, because that's the only skill you would have now, is trying to know who's got what.
Did the Tennessee loss to Ohio State do for you what it did to Greg and I? Because we're not down on the program. We're not down on them being good, But we are way down on them maybe winning a national title inside this new format.
No. I heard you say this yesterday, and then I think someone may have heard you say it too because someone asked me a question on our show last night. I'm not, and twofold. Number one, I think part of that is just me having immense appreciation for anyone pulling Tennessee out of the ditch they were in. I had to look this up last night. So Heupel's gone 11 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins in his 3 years. Before he got there, their last double-digit win season was 2007. They missed a bowl either 6 or 7 times between that time and the time he got there. So number one, I just have appreciation for what he's done. Now you're asking, man, can they go on a run? Can they win a title? Well, this year's team couldn't, obviously. I think the perception would greatly have changed if we did nothing more than switched, the seeding of the playoff to where Tennessee had Penn State's draw, Penn State had Tennessee's draw. Just a minor change. Because I would have loved Tennessee against SMU. I would have liked Tennessee's odds a lot against Boise. And I would not have liked anyone to deal with what Ohio State was about to deal out. So what if Penn State had just won 2 games and then lost close to Notre Dame? They wouldn't have won a title. I just don't think people would be nearly as down on them as getting splattered all over Columbus in 22-degree weather. I think that really dealt a severe blow that maybe would have been dealt to most teams in that position. Now, that's an excuse because, yes, there is still a ton of retooling to do on the offensive line. There's still a lot to be gotten out of the quarterback position to justify the investment in that quarterback position. So, yeah, there's still several rungs above them on the ladder, but there are way more rungs below them on the ladder, at least finally.
All right, I got one more for you, and that is, how does Notre Dame win Monday night?
Got to have a game plan where 20 points wins. I think they have to force a lot of fruitless drives. Well, I say a lot. They need to force a few of them because I don't think you're just 3-and-outing Ohio State all night. So if they're going to get it, let them get it, but it needs to end in a 3 or it needs to end in a turnover on downs or just a turnover period. They do need to win the turnover battle. Penalties need to break their way. I think turnover margin, everyone thinks they need to be plus, and maybe they do. I just think they don't need to be minus. I don't think they can afford to have happen what happened with Penn State. And then they need a couple of special individual performances, and they need Ohio State not to fit that description. You can't have a Jeremiah Smith versus Oregon type situation. I think tackling is especially imperative. They play man at a rate that no other team Ohio State has faced all year plays man at. So I also don't think Ohio State's going to flinch from what their fastball has been. They've been able to throw the ball and throw it very effectively. They're not shying away from that just because there's a good group of defensive backs. So it's good on good there. I just think that Ohio State's defensive line holds all the cards because they can shut the game down. Because it doesn't really matter if you hold Ohio State to 17 if you score 6. So I think Ohio State's defensive line holding teams to under 70 yards per game on the ground in the playoff, 16 sacks in the playoff. You just lost your left tackle. One of your guards is questionable. There are very, very few paths for Notre Dame, and they're all off the table if nothing more than Ohio State's defensive line plays at that level. So you got to have some kind of answer for that. I hope that this hasn't been discouraging for Irish backers.
Well, no, because we asked earlier in the show if they're likable, so we've at least sort of lifted the spirits today of the Irish faithful here in Birmingham and people listening outside the state. Finally, Royal Payne tweets in, granted not so much now, but Lee Greenwood had a decent run of singles in the country game in the 80s. He adds his Wikipedia link, which I have not clicked. So I haven't heard the tape on that, so I'll leave that to Wikipedia. I don't know if that really took place or not. But either way, Josh, we appreciate the time. It's always great having you, and enjoy the game Monday night.
God bless the USA.
Thank you, Lee. Josh Pate of some college football show out there somewhere where you watch them on YouTube or maybe get them via podcast, joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. Have you heard a Lee Greenwood country song?
I have not, but I'm not saying that there's not one. I'm just saying I haven't heard one.
Yeah, I haven't heard the tape. Don't know it. Maybe John can find one during the break and we can check that out.
No, I don't want to give him any streams.
Wow. You hate Lee Greenwood that much?
No, just I don't want to. If it's going to break the stereotype, if he only has the one song, why would I give streams to the other one?
Yeah, you don't want to mess up something good.
Yeah,
I understand.
I just don't know why you're trying to freeze Lee Greenwood's bank account. Maybe he needs to call Polar Bear Services, Greg.
Probably should. If it's freezes you're concerned about, Polar Bear Services got you taken care of because they are the experts when it comes to heat and air. They also have done an amazing job of adding more things to their arsenal of ways that they can help you around your home. Go and check out what they can do with your plumbing. Go and check out what they can do with your electrical, what they can also do with your small appliances, whether it's installs or repairs. They've done an amazing job for me, and I know you guys will feel the exact same way. Go and check out Polar Bear Services today. And remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
All right, when we come back, more on this national championship game. Is Notre Dame likable? We're going to get to that with Mike Golic Jr. in the 9 o'clock hour. But when we return, one of our listeners has a very important question, one that Greg McElroy has already asked me since the regular season ended, and now said listener is also asking. We'll tell you what the question is, and maybe you can give us an answer next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I'm disappointed in you, John. Greenwood has a song called Morning Ride. What more perfect song could there be for a morning drive show than Morning Ride? I'm sorry, not Morning Ride, Morning Ride.
Oh, okay.
He also has Dixie Road.
Mm-hmm.
Dixie Road sounds like a hit.
Going, going, gone. That could be our new exit song instead of Greg's buddy that we play.
You can do that.
Ain't no trick.
That seems like the 9 o'clock hour, but okay.
Wow.
Seems like the 10 o'clock show,
Oh, yeah.
at least for one host.
On Friday, maybe.
She's lying.
She's lying.
Okay, he went through a rough patch. Okay.
When a woman's in love.
Oh,
I'm surprised Lee's not popular around Valentine's Day. Fool's
Sounds-
Gold. Between a rock and a heart place.
oh.
Wow.
I'm not. I
You can't
just
make
read
this
the
stuff
song.
up.
I just
This is
read
real
the song.
life.
Holding the good hand.
As if the bad hand.
Well, we all know what happens when that bad hand gets a hold of
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It
Scary
turns
Movie
me.
2.
It turns me inside out.
Oops, skip that one.
Hopelessly yours. Hearts aren't made to break.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
I feel like we're seeing
kinda
now why
don't-
maybe he
I
went one
don't-
direction here.
I don't think I want to talk about this anymore.
Rocks that you can't move.
Said brats?
Rocks.
Oh.
It's like
I heard
next time we
brats.
talk about Jordan Davis, we should play that song.
I heard brats.
Like Terrence Cody, when we talk about him, rocks that you can't move. By the way, brats that you can't move would not be great unless you're a cardiologist.
Feels like the exact opposite of what you want.
He also finally has a single called Someone.
Mm-hmm. On according to Spotify, of his top 10 most played songs, 7 are patriotic.
Love that.
I feel like everyone I just labeled is patriotic.
Yeah, the manner of speaking.
I feel like that'd be perfect for us, John, but okay, you control the music. If you don't want that there. Moving away from sports for
Do you
just
think
a
you
moment.
could sing God Bless the USA from start to finish without looking at the words?
No, I think a lot of people think that they know the lyrics to every song, and then when it's time to go sing it without the lyrics actually on. First off, I get more words wrong in songs than anyone.
I think I could probably
think
do
certain
that one.
songs say things that are not what they say.
I'm not great
That's
at.
true.
I am not good with lyrics. I struggle with that. I
Okay.
think I could do God Bless the USA.
Okay, here we go.
Not that I'm going to sing it, but I could tell you the words.
Okay. One moment, please,
All right.
as I will grab these lyrics.
Am I a true
I'm
patriot if I
I'm
say
gonna
this?
wager heavily that you don't get this.
All right.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Are you going to
Hold
actually
on.
play the song?
John,
or just the instrumental?
Stop 1 second.
From
Stop
the
the song.
leagues of
Stop.
Minnesota.
And I mean this.
Wrong.
I'm serious here. How many over under words until he gets one wrong? I'm gonna go 4.
I was
Not
going to say
lines, words.
0.5.
Okay.
The
There you
lakes
go.
of Minnesota, the hills of Tennessee,
You're done.
across the plains of Texas,
You're done.
from sea to
You-
shining sea,
You were
from
done on
Detroit
the.
down to Houston,
You were done on the. Your
and New
first
York
word is
to
wrong.
LA.
Your first word is wrong.
I feel like that's semantics.
If tomorrow all the things
were
were
gone. I worked for all my life,
Okay.
and I had to start again with just
Yep.
my children and my wife.
Yep.
I thank my lucky stars to be
Mhm.
living here today. The flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
Okay.
I'm proud to be an American.
Yep. We got all that.
You got the chorus.
Yep.
You started with the second
Now-
verse.
From the
That's
lakes of
where-
Minnesota to the
Yeah.
hills of Tennessee,
Yeah.
across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea,
Yep.
from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. New York to LA.
Mm,
I actually think this is a misprint on the lyrics.
I think so
but
too. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You found a bad lyric?
It's a bad box
New
score.
York to LA. Yeah. Hey,
Here it comes.
it's pride in every American
I
heart.
didn't see-
and
there's
it's
no well on
time to
here.
stand and say, yes, that's right. There's pride in
says-
every American heart.
It says
It's time-
"Where's
Well,
pride in every American heart." I
yeah,
don't believe that's right.
There's pride.
And
It's
he
gotta be-
said, "Well, there's pride," on the song just now.
there's
nonetheless,
pride in
you're-
every American
okay.
heart. So it's time to stand and say,
That I'm proud to be an American. We know all that.
proud to be an American. And
And
then,
he just does that twice, I think.
yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
There's no bridge.
I will say you're closer
2.5
than I
times.
expected, but like John said,
Not
you
bad.
skipped an entire verse.
Can you play it on saxophone?
As long as it's an E minor.
I mean, it feels like G
I
right
don't know
here,
what that
but
means, but
C.
is that
it
like
should be
is
C.
that like,
I mean,
is that similar to Fort minor?
Great. One hit wonder. Great one hit wonder.
They might have had two.
No,
That's
stop
the
it.
only one.
To be fair, one of the dudes does have a, that was a side gig. So
Right.
What does he do otherwise?
it was Linkin Park.
Oh,
That was a rapper from Linkin Park.
easy.
Rapper?
Easy. Rapper's a bit of a stretch.
Rapper with a W.
His
Performer.
WR.
I'll allow.
Right.
I didn't say he was a good rapper. The way the words came out of his mouth, he's technically rapping.
You did better than I expected. I will say that.
I feel like I got it. I got the verses
You flipped the verses.
in
but
reverse
yeah.
order.
I wouldn't have
Would've been
gotten
fine.
anywhere near that many words or verses
I have heard
or
that
lines
song
of that.
on a per capita basis of the songs I've heard in my life. It's up there.
Did y'all have to
Dad
stand
was a
up in
big
class
fan.
and sing that in Texas when elementary school?
No.
I
We
feel
just
like that'd be
replaced,
like
we
required.
replaced America with Texas.
Feels like you're trying to do that.
From Denton down to Houston and El
Plano.
Paso to Fort Worth.
So get this. You Google Lee Greenwood, comes up American singer, songwriter, and saxophonist.
Oh,
See?
Mm.
Great
Everyone
minds.
who's
Great
anyone
minds, who
can
knew?
play the saxophone.
boy.
So he wrote that song too. He owns the rights
I
to
assume
it.
so.
But
He's
can,
also
can we
82
get a
years
Lee
old.
Greenwood net worth?
I got that.
Not
Stand by.
that the internet net worths are.
I know,
super
but
accurate all the
that's
time,
what's
but
so
it
funny
gives us
about
an
him.
idea of it.
That's
though.
what's so funny about him. The league, like the internet net worths are fantastic. And I feel like generally speaking, they're always low. And I would imagine this one's low too. $5 million for Lee Greenwood.
Mhm.
Hey.
I'll take the over. I'll take the over.
I don't know this, but I want to say at one point in time I heard something about some financial something or others, but I could be totally off base there. I want to feel like I heard that at one time.
He's 5'3".
Dang.
Yeah, I got him beat.
Does he wish he was a little bit taller and a baller? Does he wish he had a girl that looked good and he could call her?
I love
It's
that.
like
Type
there's
in
time.
Lee Greenwood net worth, and like the other options are Colin Greenwood and Johnny Greenwood. Literally have no idea who either one of those two are.
Didn't Florida have a D lineman named Greenwood a couple years ago?
Joey Greenwood.
Joey? No,
That's Gatewood.
it's no Slackman. PFF's #1 returning defensive lineman in the SEC, by the way. Clown show. Freaking clown show operation. Ivy League guy transferring in. Best returning defensive lineman in the SEC.
There's a golf course in West Virginia.
You know where with that.
There's a golf course in West Virginia called Greenwood.
Gatewood, Greenwood.
No, Greenbrier.
How many career completions for Joey Gatewood?
Career over under 20.
More completions.
I'll say more than 20.
More completions in their career. Joey Gatewood, Colin Greenwood,
Here's
Johnny
hold
Greenwood,
on. Here's a question.
or Lee Greenwood.
Because he moved to tight end at UCF, right?
True.
So here's a question: more completions or receptions in his career, Joey Gatewood? And I honestly don't know.
Say completions or receptions?
He moved to tight end at UFC.
I'm gonna say,
Or
I'm
I'm
gonna say
sorry.
completions.
That's
If
a big
he's-
difference
if
there.
he's in the UFC, I'd have a lot of respect for him. UCF, the Knights or the Golden Knights. Which one are they allowed to call?
Is he still playing
What do we
college
call
ball?
No,
Probably.
no, I hope not.
Why wouldn't he be? Did the defenders pick him up? Jordan Tamlin's coming back.
Heck yeah.
He's more of a Memphis Showboats guy.
That's fair. Okay, the question that we had, I'm going to have to get to on the other side. Do we need a break here, John? I've lost complete control of this show. I'll try to get it back on the rails.
Good luck.
Rebecca-
Now my goal is to have it absolutely a disheveled mess until Mike Golic joins the show in
Well,
35 minutes.
you're good at that.
But we do have Joey Gatewood. 9 receptions in his career,
Okay. 8 completion.
24 completions.
Okay.
Triple up.
What did you start with? Over under 20?
20.
Yeah. I would have said under.
He was at Louisville last year.
Where?
Louisville.
Louisville.
Whoa.
Not- Greg will correct you on that.
I honestly think I feel like it's Auburn's fault.
I mean,
They definitely
that's-
ruined him.
Yep.
It definitely wasn't Kentucky who put him in
He was going to be Cam.
against Georgia down 7 with like 2 seconds left and asked him to throw Hail Marys.
It was going to be
No.
Cam. He was going to be Cam, and then Auburn got a hold of him.
So was Kyle Frazier.
How many
So
next
is
Cams
Joe-
have we seen?
Jeremy
Jeremy
Johnson.
Jeremy Johnson.
No, I don't think Jeremy ran like that,
Oh,
honestly.
Lord, no.
Yeah, but he was still the
That
next
didn't
Cam.
stop them from
Not just
comparisons.
Auburn, though, but how many next Cams have we had?
Nick
KJ
Marshall,
Jefferson? No.
KJ Jefferson.
You had to be like big and physical.
Yeah, that's true.
Who was the bulldozer at Oklahoma
built like
a couple
Cam.
years ago?
Oh, Bell.
Yeah.
Bulldozer.
Belldozer. He was
Belldozer,
the
yeah.
next Cam.
Ugh.
We've had a lot of next cams out there.
A lot of next
that
cams.
didn't quite live up to the hype.
Yeah,
Didn't make it.
not quite.
I haven't seen one that's been maybe the best football player I've ever seen.
Josh Allen was
TJ Finley
Josh
knows
Allen
maybe.
drew some Cam Newton comparisons. They were like, he can't run like Cam. All right.
Josh Allen has surpassed Cam.
Yes, by a mile.
Career. Don't remember him in college though as being touted as the next Cam Newton.
Coming out, he was as a prospect. He was.
No,
Yes. Confirmed.
there's got to be a couple other college.
There's definitely a couple other college guys that are next Cams. I know. I feel like Auburn has one every year.
Has anyone made that comparison with Sellers yet? I feel like somebody had to have done that.
I hope not.
No, he's too twitchy. Cam was a power.
I
guy.
just saw a guy on Twitter say Marcel Reed's top 3 quarterback in the SEC next year.
next
Holy
Cam.
hell.
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony
Yeah.
Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe more athletic than Cam.
Will Levis.
No, nobody
Just-
said that.
Can't complete passes at the same rate.
Or run.
He can run.
Nah, he got some-
And his stamina. He's not known for his stamina. Anthony Richardson.
It's fair. Cam's conditioning much better
Far better.
than Anthony
I was
Richardson.
just
What happens when you fight
tired.
kids, man?
I was just tired. I was just tired. Like, what?
Okay, here's the question of the day that Rebecca tweets in. At Barner Becca. At Mac and Cube. Random question out of the blue for at Cole Cubelic. What's going to be your off-season shows to watch this year? We will attempt to answer that because Greg asked me this yesterday. Next on Mac and Cube in the morning. What did you say you were going to do to the show until Mike Golic Jr. came on?
Destroy it.
No, you said you were going to. What was the terms you used? Have it out of whack? Have it.
Throw a wrench in it.
If your teeth have had a wrench thrown in them and you needed them repaired, you should probably call Family Care too.
That would be considered.
Yes. Maybe not first. But yes.
I think that would be considered a dental emergency to which they can oblige. They can get you in same day. They can get you in on Fridays and Saturdays. Most insurance plans are accepting. They're accepting patients of all ages. If you don't have a dental emergency, you can still get a same day appointment. And that routine appointment comes with free teeth whitening. Locations are all throughout our community in Hoover, Homewood, Alabaster, Fultondale, and now opened in Trussville. Call Family Care Dental at 874-9605. They'll take the wrench out of your teeth at 874-9605.
Penn State wide receiver Trey Wallace going into the portal. JMU maybe has their next.
Trey Wallace is good, by the way. Like, remember we didn't know about Keandre Lambert Smith? Like, Trey Wallace.
You watched him, you knew.
Yeah, but I don't think people really.
The only thing you and I agreed on was just how much real juice he had. I thought he was just like a solid overall player.
Guy.
You thought he was a little bit more, could hit home runs, but we both thought he was a really good player.
I thought he was going to be good. He was better than I thought he'd be. I think this Trey Wallace has a chance to be really good. He's a smooth route runner. I wondered watching him and preparing for the game last week. It's like, why doesn't this guy get more looks? Like, he's getting open. He's drawing penalties. Like, guys are having a hard time covering him. He can get off press coverage. Like, he's a little slight. He's not huge. But I think someone's going to find a gem there with Trey Wallace. I really do. We'll see what happens. I think he's got a chance to be a difference maker for somebody.
Interesting, because that's actually not the one that I wanted the breakdown on. I wanted your breakdown on JMU finding their next Cam Newton with former UNLV quarterback Matthew Sluka, who committed yesterday.
Oh.
Make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
You take a pay cut?
Call the uncles.
Bob Chesney and him have history at Holy Cross.
Pay cut on what he thought he was getting or what he is actually getting.
I think I'm probably going to go to Haney today and say I was thinking I was going to have triple the salary that I have this year out of nowhere. I wonder how that'll work for me.
Actually, you should do it like mid-show based on how that one went. All right. The question that was posed to the show, though, that I thought it would be something we would get to a little bit later, but since it's brought up today, we'll just go into it right now. We'll talk national championship game. We'll talk NFL and college basketball all in the final hour. Mike Golic Jr. with us at 9:20. But I stated the question before we went to break, and we'll read some of what we're getting in. But Rebecca asked, random out of the blue question for Cole Cubelic. What's going to be your off-season show to watch this year? All right, number one, I have to finish The Bear with my wife. We are a season and a half into that, I think, which we stopped at in like August. So that'll be a weird catch-up, but we will attempt to do that. Severance, the second season's coming out.
It might just be a little much.
We watched that together, so I think that'll be an easy one for us to watch at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't have any. There's nothing else. I'll probably watch the what's the game show where they kill themselves?
Squid Game?
Yeah, I'll probably watch season 2 of that. My wife didn't watch the first season of that, but I'll have some intrigue there. Squid Game 2 list. Okay. That's all I got. I'm open for suggestions after that. Greg, what's on your list? Anything?
Pretty big on. All right, so it's kind of opened up my whole world now that Peloton has an entertainment streaming option, so that you can watch Netflix, YouTube TV.
You want me to really blow your mind?
TV stream.
It did this like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's all new to me. It's all new to me. Didn't know any of this.
Can you just look up?
Yeah,
it's not as cool as you think.
It's cool. I watched an entire episode yesterday morning before the radio show on the John Benet Ramsey true crime.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm an episode into that.
Okay.
I already watched 2 episodes.
Did you pick like the For Me option, or did and they just threw that up there, or did you actually go seek that out?
No,
and that's what
it's
you're
like
watch
these are the
during
things
your
that
run?
that I've added to my list for like years. Because John Benet Ramsey, it was.
What did you watch that on?
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. So watch that. I'm only 1 episode in. I have 2 more to go, but I remember that being like a fascinating thing. like for my parents, because I was the older brother's age and my sister was John Bonet's age. So it was very troubling in my household, like very, very disturbing situation. So I don't really remember much of it, the details. So I'm now watching that back. That's one episode. I did 2 episodes the other day on Jerry Springer.
Is it good?
It's pretty good.
I
Yeah.
thought you meant the actual show, like
No,
your throwback, like
No,
Steve, the
Netflix.
security guard, throwing
No.
people off the stage.
Although his
and
show's
whatnot.
still on the air.
No, the
Really?
Netflix.
Steve's is, yeah.
God, but he's getting checks.
The Netflix documentary on the Springer Show. 2 episodes. Got that done in 1 workout. It's pretty good.
Attaboy.
So yeah, no, that's been
Netflix has a Jerry Springer documentary.
yes.
Yeah, I threw it in the group chat.
2
Hey, what do y'all
episodes.
think? And
Good
no
one.
one said anything.
I
so.
usually don't read the group chat. So
That's
I
fine.
just watched it on
Take it
Monday,
in.
so I would have responded had I known at that point. But no, pretty good.
Have you finished the McMahon one? Have you watched it?
No,
I
that's
haven't
up
watched
next.
that either. I should
That's
do
on
that
my
one.
list.
I did. I liked it.
It's
It was
good.
Yeah.
That's on my list.
pretty
I have a
wild.
bunch of things on my list that I like real life stuff. I've now found that the Squid Game, will I watch it? Potentially. I don't know. I liked the first season. I thought it was all right. A little over the top, but I've found that I am more into like true crime, real life, nonfiction stuff than I am stuff that's gone on,
No,
in your
I'm into the
imagination.
true crime stuff. The last true crime thing I think I watched was the couple in California that the girl was kidnapped. They were both like taken hostage in their home and had it on camera somehow. And the police chief of the town didn't believe them. John, you remember this, right? You watched this.
Yes.
It was on Netflix, I believe, and the couple was in their home. They were taken hostage. They took her, and then she just walks back in her house like 6 months later or a year later. And the police chief did a press conference and said these shenanigans that these people are pulling, like they've used taxpayers' resources. Like he called their bluff on it, and he was wrong. I can't remember the name of it. It was good though.
I would
It's
like to watch
really
that.
interesting.
You got my attention with that.
Yeah, I'll find the
I
name. of it.
recommend the John Bonet thing because I don't remember what. I will not look it up. I will not look up what ultimately came of it. So I don't know the finality of like if anyone got charged, who got charged. I don't know what happened with it. So it's kind of interesting reliving it, not knowing the ultimate outcome. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm very now the dad is being interviewed in the piece. So I think it's
no.
pretty soon. Well, it's been 25 years, so he handles it okay. I would just die. I don't know how you could talk about it, but it's pretty disturbing. But yeah, definitely making it go by quickly on the treadmill.
Suggestions I'm getting are Lioness.
Landman's my
Landman?
next one. Yeah, Landman.
Landman.
It kind of looks like a lot.
That's Tyler Sheridan. I'm pretty sure it's
Haney
as
just
PG-13
greenlit.
as
Haney
it
just
can be.
greenlit our raise, guys.
What is it?
We all just got a raise.
That a baby.
Haney says
Landman.
yes to Landman.
No, you greenlit the raise.
When I first saw the
Yeah.
previews for Landman, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, I'm in." And then the more clips I saw, I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, there are a couple conversations that are like, whew, okay.
The one with his daughter, I'm just
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, we might not
yeah.
even need to do this, but maybe I will."
I haven't seen
don't know.
clips of it, but I've been told it is must watch.
Well, you're a Texan, so yeah, it's your kind of show.
Yes.
Speaking of
It's
true-
this
true crime,
generation's
yeah.
Dallas.
Oh boy.
I never watched Dallas. Heard it was overrated.
Rebecca
It
tweets in "American Nightmare" was the name of that show, and that was it. Go watch that one. I think
Is that
it's
about
it's the one I was just telling you about.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes?
Mm-mm. No, it's the one I was just telling you about.
Not the Meek Mill song?
No,
All I care about is
I'm not
Cody
talking
Rhodes.
about Conrad and Cassio's podcast. I'm talking about the one where the couple was taken hostage in their own home,
If you ain't
they
Cody
took the
Rhodes,
girl,
I ain't got time for
and
it.
then that.
I would like to watch that.
Continue your suggestions in now that Greg and I have a little bit of time to watch things not related to football. Prime Target on Apple TV is another one we're getting in.
Unfamiliar. I am in the middle. Meredith and I, over the last week, we've been trying to watch Fly Me to the Moon in like 15-minute increments before we fall asleep. That's enjoyable.
I don't know what it is.
That's on Apple TV Plus.
Okay. Season 2 of Night Agent. I'd probably have to see season 1 of Night Agent
That would make
Right.
sense.
before that would be
Right.
a recommendation that I would take.
I like the
Um,
other one, Day Agent.
What about Dusk Agent? Dawn Agent?
Dawn Agent.
Twilight Agent may be too much for y'all.
Yeah, Midnight Agent.
Oh, that's a oof. Whole different channel.
That's Cinemax late night.
Correct. Yes.
That's the Springer. That's the Springer doc.
Wait for the free preview for that.
Yes.
All right, more recommendations next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Wednesday, January 15th, 8:53 a.m. right here on Jocks 94.5. Listen online, jocksfm.com, apps in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Also, watch live on YouTube. Just search Jocks 945.
Bill Smith Buick GMC, they're the very best, man. Absolutely have loved getting to know Andy Cole, Jonathan Yeager, all the wonderful people that are up there in Coleman, just up I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. The deals that they have on the lot are still outrageous here. After the first of the year, most people are starting to mark things up. They're continuing to mark things down, like a GMC Yukon Denali. This thing is a beautiful XL four-wheel drive Denali. The Yukon, man. $10,000 off the sticker. And get it for just over $80,000. Deals like that, you just won't find anywhere else. That's why you got to take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. It's pretty amazing to know that this group, they're able to take this much off cars that are still in high demand. So go and take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at Bill Smith Buick, GMC.com.
All right, so others that you may be wanting to send in as far as ideas for viewing. Is there a movie that's been out recently that we need to watch? I will say my kids went to see that with my mom. They enjoyed it, I think.
pretty good.
I think the best part of it was my mom told me that my 7-year-old was giving her play-by-play and telling her what was going to happen next, and he has not seen the movie before.
Love that.
He's like, Cece, watch this. Watch this. He's about to, this is about that. And she's like, you haven't seen this. He thought he had. So,
Anticipation.
he was calling a shot right there in the movie theater. I meant to bring this up with Josh, and I did watch the majority of, on the way home from Miami, the new Twister movie.
Yeah, Twisters.
Throw it in the garbage.
Why?
It's awful.
Trash.
I heard it wasn't bad.
It's dumb.
Wow.
Greg, they put salt into a tornado and it apparently changes the. You talk about stupid.
Salt?
Salt makes everything better.
Whatever. There's some formula, something. I don't know if it's like pink salt or Himalayan salt.
Don't you talk about Glenn Powell like that.
It is dumb.
Glenn Powell's a legend.
It's so dumb. It's not even, at least the first one was entertaining. This one's not even entertaining.
It's not entertaining.
It's just, he's got a button on his truck and these like giant screws go down into the ground. And I'm like, that's not going to hold you against an F4, pal.
Joke's on you. It did.
It doesn't. And the last one didn't. She was in it and got thrown all over the place.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Sorry, spoiler alert. You don't need to waste your time with it. Tyler also backing up that that's American Nightmare I'm talking about. Yes, I'm telling you, it was really interesting. Because I did not hear of that story. I did not know that took place. But yeah, we'll come back with some more. Mike Golic Jr., 9:20. More college football playoff talk next on Mac and Cube in the morning. 9 o'clock hour number 3, McElroy, Cubelic in the morning. Thanks for tuning in. Brandon Cooper will move up from linebackers coach to defensive coordinator for the Sanford Bulldogs. That coaching change being made by Chris Hatcher. Your calls, 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. Coach Dilfer made some noise on the show yesterday. Big thanks to Birmingham Sports for putting that one out there and getting that thing going, trending yesterday with his discussion on NIL, what's happening in his conference, to which John Sumrall, Greg, would then respond by tagging 2 other coaches in the conference. So I don't know exactly what the entire underlining meaning of all that was, but certain folks not excited about some of those comments made yesterday.
I would imagine there's probably a bunch of people not excited about those comments made, but hey, reality is reality. I just look forward to the day when someone will come out and actually call schools out. Someday that will happen. And then we can begin to put an end to what's going on. But I don't know when that day is going to come because everyone refuses to throw stones in glass houses, and I can't say I really blame them.
There's a lot. And if you're looking to put it into the cold in your home, you need to call Train. Schedule your system checkup now from a Train comfort specialist. Train has been recognized 10 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home comfort partners here at Jocks. Visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you. We asked earlier in the show, is Notre Dame likable? We'll get to that in just a moment. I want to finish up some of these viewing options that folks are sending in. We did listen to Lee Greenwood's country music during the break. John refuses to play it. Says he will not do it.
Wasn't that bad.
Can't do it.
At least that song that you played.
I'm sorry. I just want to keep listeners.
That was
wow.
Hearts aren't made to be broken.
Yeah.
Since when are
I'm sorry.
listeners
Hearts
part
aren't
of,
made to break.
Since when are listeners part of the show, John? It's almost like they're the most important thing. And you
We
don't
just
want
got
to
a
lose
raise,
them.
okay? I'm trying to keep it.
I don't know why you think that Lee Greenwood's going to drive people away.
No, I think they probably rock.
I would
Lee
think
Greenwood.
monotone voices are what kills
is.
the show.
I'm sorry. There's a parentheses on the title too. Hearts aren't made to break. They're made to love.
Hey.
Who didn't know that already, Lee? Just saying. Jamie Bailey tweets in The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix. A couple people sharing that with us. Anyone seen that one?
Is that a movie or a show?
I don't know.
Both now.
Oh, really?
It was a show that's now a movie?
It
Familiar
was
with
a
Lincoln
movie
Logs.
with McConaughey,
Oh.
No, I was going to say, I thought I heard of that.
and now it's got Nev Campbell in it. So an upgrade, I guess.
She's
You
back?
said Nev Campbell?
Correct.
Talk about a break.
Yeah.
Is Denise Richards in it by chance?
She, in fact, is not.
What?
She has a subscription
not sure
site
she's
now.
capable
Oh, boy.
of that.
Yeah, I
right
know.
now.
Oh, wow.
Did not see that coming.
What?
Oh.
I'm unfamiliar.
I don't think she's in the correct space to be doing that.
Nah.
Todd tweets in, need to watch the new Fall Guy movie. First movie that's entertained me in a long time. Now, I will say this. Love Fall Guy back in the day. Wanted that brown pickup truck with the eagle on the front and the KC lights on the top. But we have a new one of these?
Yeah, it came and went over the summer.
They do about as good as the Dukes of Hazzard movies did in the theater?
Probably. Actually, no, because Dukes of Hazzard got a sequel.
Okay, well, there have been others that got sequels that were not good movies.
That
Fast and Furious has gotten 20.
I didn't say it was good. It said did as well
Exactly.
as. There's a difference.
Where is that?
Peacock?
Of course. Right there with Big Ten football. Night Agent keeps coming in. I haven't seen the tape on that. I don't know what that is or if that's good or if I should watch that.
I bet Night Agent's good.
Well, you can give it a shot. Because I haven't seen it.
Well, I just took a peek at it on IMDb. It looks halfway decent. Don't know for sure, but it looks decent.
Evan Watkins, you have to put Landman on your list with Billy Bob Thornton. Absolutely incredible. A Taylor Sheridan series.
Yes. Everyone swears by that one. That one's very popular.
Okay.
Garnet Spur, Landman, and it's not even close. Johnny Jackson, please, dear Lord, don't let Mac or Cube ever sing on the radio again. Amen. Amen.
We didn't sing.
No.
Sandy Flush tweets in, who is they? I don't even know what he's talking about. Did we hurt his feelings somehow?
No idea.
Okay. And John Mack tweets in, since Saybear won't do his job for the listeners, here are the top hits for Lee Greenwood. I sense a theme.
Wow, it's plural. Who knew?
God Bless Canada is my personal favorite. He actually sends the list right there, and God Bless Canada is on it.
Okay.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, of his top 10 most streamed Spotify songs, 7 are patriotic.
God Bless the USA, Star Spangled Banner, We Were Meant for Each Other, America, God Bless Canada,
God bless
America the Beautiful,
Canada. How do you
the Battle Hymn of the Republic,
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
IOU,
Uh-huh.
from the album Somebody's Gonna Love You, and God Bless America again. Oh, I'm sorry. God Bless USA, God Bless America, America the Beautiful.
Right.
You talk about spinning things.
Again,
Right.
He's in there.
Yep. There's the rock version, then there's the version that was re-recorded in the studio.
It's
Oh.
like, how many ways can you run the 3-4 defense? Like,
Yep.
This Land Is Your Land, that's up there too.
You know what, though? He's turned that one-trick pony into a stable.
Breaded.
I guess. I don't know. Old Lee. Can we get Lee Greenwood on the show?
He's 82, man. He might be at lunch now.
He's 82.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. At lunch. I'd like to be at lunch now. Does that make us 82?
Maybe you don't know how old you are.
It's true. Yesterday, I told them in the break, and this might be just a sad reality of where we're going in life. Yesterday was the first time ever in my life that I did not know how old I was. Someone asked me how old I was. I said 35. I'm like, wait, hang on a second. No, I'm 36. And supposedly it gets worse. When I start missing by multiple years,
Wait till
that's what
37. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still 35 at 37.
You're just going to stop caring, and
Nope.
And
There's
then
no
you're-
gonna stop.
then you're going to stop not wanting to be right. So
Is that
it's-
not troubling, though, to not know how old you are?
Nah,
Nah.
I don't. It doesn't bother me at all.
You guys don't care.
I don't care. Nor do I want to know, actually.
Hey, Lee Greenwood, he his fifth marriage, he married former Miss Tennessee, Kimberly Payne.
Sorry, how many?
Fifth.
Yeah, man.
So we talk all the time about bad box score of the day.
Uh-huh.
Like, when does the coach just stop coaching? Or what are your exact coaching points? At what point in that process do you just say, you know what? I just don't need to try that again.
Fifth time's a charm, dude.
That's what they say.
So if this one goes south, you think he's going to sit back and say, you know what? Not doing that again.
At 82.
5 gone wrong is enough. And maybe that's where some of the financial stuff came from that I feel like I read one time.
Fair point.
Miss Tennessee did it.
A lot of people would say, you know what? Worth it.
Like, what does the coach say down 80?
A lot of
Hustle.
I don't know.
What does Greenwood say after the 4th failed?
I don't know. Like,
By God, she's out
what
there.
do you do? Not try?
No, you try other things, like find hobbies, or just
I don't
date and not marry.
Not married.
I don't know.
Like he said,
I can't be critical of someone
Hearts
trying to
aren't
do it
made
the
to
right
break;
way.
they're made to love.
I can't be critical of that. I respect the effort.
I'm not being critical. I'm asking a real question of what makes you think it's going to be different the 4th time than the 5th time. If there's obviously something going on that's not working. Hopelessly Yours, another one of his songs. Maybe Ain't No Trick, It Takes Magic. See, the parentheses are the parts of his songs that I should have been
Okay,
leaving
that's-
out.
Yeah.
He's still looking for the magic.
Totally
That's the
changes the
problem.
song. Yeah.
Take that to Orlando. He also has a song entitled Don't Underestimate My Love for You.
That's a long title.
It is.
Don't underestimate.
He feels like he's been underestimated.
Maybe so.
He says, I'm going to find one that doesn't underestimate me. He also
Eventually.
has a song called Fool's Gold,
Mhm.
of which maybe his love is that.
Do you think
And
when
he
he's,
doesn't realize it until he's in too deep.
when he's not happy in the
Back to
marriage,
the
whatever,
hotel.
he starts playing the songs like that? Like when things are great and everything, he's playing all the good songs
Yes.
around the house. And then when she starts getting on his nerves,
By the way, In Too Deep, Back to the Hotel, one hit wonder Hall of Fame.
In too deep?
It was before your time, but
I'm
trust
not
me,
familiar with that one.
it still hits.
Really?
Play it coming back, John.
Sum 41?
Wait. In too deep and that song?
No. In Too Deep is the group. Back to the Hotel is a song.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Multiple
Oh, I thought you were
artists have
saying you
ripped
were
it off.
listening back to the hotel.
Multiple artists have ripped it
I don't
off.
know that one.
Oh, you will.
Really?
There may
Off
be
the top of my head, I am
Jay-Z riff
unfamiliar.
that it was stolen from.
Wow.
Multiple artists have taken this beat. You gonna play it now or when we come back?
Play it now. We
Probably
got
here.
time.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that it's clean because we just got a raise and don't
It's
want to get
in too
fired.
That's
deep.
fair. That's fair.
It's not.
That doesn't
Good point.
matter.
The subject matter might not be overly clean, but there's not cuss words and it's in too deep. This is like early 90s rap.
Exactly why I need to double check.
But it's not NWA. It's in too deep. I can't believe y'all don't know what this song is.
Nah,
It's
not
fine.
too familiar.
That's cool.
1992.
I get it. It's old,
It's a little.
but it still hits today. I promise. B-Town Brother, check it out. I'm about to throw down.
Okay.
Just saying. Y'all will know when it hits.
Kevin in Tuscaloosa says back to the hotel is an immediate mood changer. So it sets the tone.
Kevin knows. Kevin sees it. Kevin hears it.
I really don't know about, like, I typed in a list of like top.
Let it ride.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, Jay-Z.
It's
yeah.
not Jay-Z.
Well, I know like that.
It's not.
I get it now.
It isn't. No, he stole it from them. He
Good-
paid
good
money
artist-
to sample
Good
this.
artist borrow,
He
great
paid
artist steal.
Deal.
Just let this go for a minute. I'm telling y'all.
The lyrics are
I
not
get
in
it.
this.
We
I
understand.
You
read
don't
it.
have the lyrics?
They're a little problematic.
There's cuss words in it?
No, but problematic.
Innuendos.
No,
Is it a
he's straight
problem?
up-
Is it a
yeah.
problem for the FCC?
FCC, no.
Won't let me be,
Hey,
but
me,
let me be
maybe.
me. So let me see.
That's a nice beat though. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, wait till it comes back here in just a second. Oh, you went all instrumental?
Correct.
No.
That's what the brakes are for.
Don't need it.
Still today. It's one that still rides. There it is. And that little guitar riff in there. I'm telling you. You see, y'all doubted me. And you didn't know. Now
No
you
one
know.
was doubting you.
Knowing's half the battle.
No one was doubting you.
I legit put G.I. Joe on YouTube in here yesterday. Amazing
Yeah,
how
that
nobody
instrumental-
shot each other in that show.
The instrumental has been sampled in a lot of songs.
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the account on TikTok where the guy takes all the songs that have sampled one song and
Yeah.
puts them together?
Yeah.
I need that for this song. I have to ask Spencer Hall who that is. He put me onto that TikTok account. I haven't been on TikTok in months. I guess I should get on there now because it's about to be over, right?
Yeah, might as
say
well
it
hurry
is.
up.
So they say.
One would hope. It's been so good for society. I don't know why they.
How are we going to know how to put trash cans in our trash bin correctly and how to use spoons to do other things, whatever
Yeah.
they give us the tricks for? That sounded a lot worse than it was. Meant to be.
I'd say.
Like Lee Greenwood's lyrics.
Lee Greenwood.
Oh, I just want to listen to this the rest of the day. Do you guys listen to certain music based on where you are in the
Yeah.
country? Like when you go to New Orleans, like when I go to New Orleans, I pretty much listen to Juvenile the whole time.
Oh,
Okay.
Like, do you do that?
No, I don't lean into that too much, but I don't.
Like
I don't
I had Rick Ross
necessarily-
push it the entire time I was in
Attaboy.
Miami.
Attaboy.
The entire time.
He just felt rich.
Just cranking it.
Exactly.
Sunroof back.
That feels natural though.
That feels,
All you missing
I
was
have
a
to.
chain.
I
it
have to.
feels,
No pit bull.
feels
No
touristy.
Pitbull. No. I
Feels
will
like you're
go
a
a little
tourist
Trick
doing
Daddy.
that.
Trick Love the Kids.
You know he does.
Maybe some Trina.
Wow. Okay.
Luther Campbell. It's like that's
Hey, Papa!
Miami, but I don't need that. Like it doesn't really do
Over the
much.
line.
Not at this age.
It's just not. It's not like catchy. It doesn't get the mood going. No, it
It's
doesn't.
catchy.
It isn't.
Yay.
No, it was just obscene, and people got into it because there was nothing else like it.
They slapped that label on it. It's all good.
Greg, when you go back to Texas, is it like all George Strait?
Yes.
Figured.
When I'm in
But
Oklahoma.
that's also in Mountain Brook too, right?
What's that?
That's also in Mountain Brook and George Strait all day.
It's true.
Yeah.
But not so
Trussville
much.
and
No.
Coleman and yeah.
Mountain Brook, you have a lot of. What's the?
Beethoven? I
No.
don't know.
No. What's the dumb?
Pat Green.
No, the really dumb band that Haney likes.
Fish?
Yes, basically.
That's
Them
it.
Widespread?
and the
That's
other one,
actually it.
widespread. Yeah,
Why is
That is it.
yeah.
That's what y'all jamming too?
Not me.
Oh yeah, you're not homegrown.
I don't like
Texas,
terrible music.
straight Slim Thug. It doesn't even have to be Houston.
Hey,
Correct.
Even Dallas.
Mike Jones.
Because I don't know what
Mike
you
Jones.
listen to for Dallas. Like, what is Dallas music?
Dallas.
I mean,
It's probably all ripped off from somebody else.
Probably. I mean, but you can lean into Fort Worth and you can go a lot of different directions.
Oh, that's a big
Like
difference.
who's
in
a
Dallas and
who's a
Worth.
big Fort Worth artist?
Fort Worth.
Gary Patterson. He had a single.
He's a
Single,
great designer of defense.
single appearance, maybe.
He could draw it up, no doubt.
I mean, there's a lot.
Well, hold on, but it is weird that Dallas, as big as it is and has been for so long, does not have synonymous music with it. At least I don't know about it.
Vanilla Ice from Dallas.
And that's not what I'm going to be bumping the next time I roll into the Big D.
No, there's not. I mean, Dallas is not really known as like
Big
so
extra
like-
plug.
It's like Texas.
Who?
You have
Big extra plug.
Yeah,
He's a
no,
rapper.
it does nothing.
Texas. You have like
Slim Thug.
if you want to go way
Travis
back in the
Scott.
day, it was Buddy Holly. Buddy
Travis Scott
Holly's
doesn't even talk about Texas, though.
No.
Demi Lovato,
She's from Texas?
Dallas.
Oh.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Definitely.
Right up
Demi
Cole's alley.
Lovato puts me in a
Yeah.
Dallas state of
Right
mind.
up Cole's
Exactly.
alley. Yeah.
Right there.
Usher.
No, he.
Definitely think
Atlanta.
Dallas when I think
Atlanta.
want to make love in this club. I think, yeah, rolling into Dallas.
Atlanta.
Usher's from Dallas.
I know.
Man,
it doesn't
he
doesn't
claims
do
Atlanta.
anything for me as far as getting me in a Dallas state of mind, though.
Leanne Rhymes.
No.
No,
Can't name a single song.
really? What's wrong
She
with
had
you?
the one that everybody liked. I don't know what it is.
Blue. That's a good one.
I'm Blue.
Kelly Clarkson.
Da ba dee ba da da.
Oh, Post Malone.
No,
Post Malone.
that'd be Eiffel 65.
Again, he doesn't talk about Texas, so that
they love
doesn't
him down
count.
there.
I don't care.
They
They
love
love him
down there.
everywhere.
Post Malone's from
I thought he's
Grapevine.
I thought he was from Utah.
He's from Grapevine, Texas.
He owns a Raising Cane's in Salt Lake City.
And that
And
matters.
Dallas.
Why?
It doesn't. It just means that he doesn't talk about Texas. in
He's
his
from
songs.
Grapevine, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas.
Oh.
Hey,
I want an artist that represents their
Nora
hood.
Jones.
Nora Jones,
I
Kelly
love Nora
Clarkson.
Jones, by the way.
Mo 3.
I know, right?
Nora Jones has great music, but it doesn't get me going for Texas.
We're not necessarily
things,
known.
yes.
I mean, Dallas is not exactly a bedrock of music.
How is it
culture,
not? Is
right,
what I'm
yeah.
saying though. So many people, so much money. You would feel like that would happen. Like when I go
Because
to
it's not
Atlanta,
art, it's
I listen to
business.
Ludacris, I listen to Outkast,
Exactly.
and I listen to Gucci Mane.
Attaboy.
That's great.
But I don't. But that there's nothing that does. Like nobody represents Dallas heavily in their music. I don't feel like.
No, they don't. But you have Texas. You have like a ton of people from Texas. Like from San Antonio, there's a ton. From Houston,
Don't say
there's a
that.
bunch.
There's not.
San Antonio?
It's worthless.
San Antonio has a ton of musicians.
Who?
Selena,
Well. All right.
Gomez?
R.I.P. But like, yeah.
ZZ Top.
By the way,
That's it.
that movie hit me harder than it should have the first time I saw
Really?
it. I didn't
Selena?
I didn't know what happened.
Oh, it's a tough one.
Oh,
yeah.
it got you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
brutal.
yeah.
ZZ Top.
Who's in their song saying San Antonio? Like I want to hear it. Who is it? Outside of the PA guy for the Brahmas games.
First of all, I don't care about that. You don't have to like rep
Yes,
Yo
you
City.
do.
Yeah, you
it's-
do.
No,
if
you
it's
don't
your-
have to.
If it's
Saint
going to be
Lunatics,
music
Nelly.
that gets me into the mood for that city, it has
Exactly.
to be that.
We don't want you to listen to our music. We don't care.
What music? That's the thing.
Exactly.
Won't you listen?
You got to
We
put
don't
on
care.
for the city, on for the city.
The only
Exactly.
person that like the most Texan musician of all time is without question
Meg the Stallion.
George Strait.
Oh.
George Strait is without question number one. There's some others that would like be in the mix, like Willie Nelson, Lyle Lovett, Don Henley is from Texas. I mean,
Beyonce's from Texas.
Beyonce's from Houston, not Texas.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Houston's basically
So that-
Southwest Louisiana.
To the post office, but okay.
You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of people from Texas, but like the one that we most align with is probably George Strait. He's numero uno.
Okay.
Like when I want to get in an Alabama mood, I listen to Yellow Wolf or Jackie Chain.
Yellow Wolf.
Huntsville, specifically Jackie Chain. Y'all don't even know about
I
him.
don't even know who that is.
No, you should though.
Are you serious right now?
Yellow Wolf was a
100%.
sleeper, dog. I will give you that one. Yellow Wolf had a period of time where he was a weight room specialist.
He is more than that. He represents Gad Rock.
Trunk
So,
music.
I'm just telling you. There's no one that represents Dallas in their music.
No,
And not even George Strait, because I wouldn't know because I don't listen to a lot of the stuff.
because Dallas.
I'm not
and-
saying that's bad. but I
as
just
someone
don't
that
know.
is from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I at least acknowledge that there are a lot of soulless qualities of Dallas.
Like when I land at LAX,
I get it. I'm
it's
from there.
immediately Tupac or that album that came out in the late 90s that I'm not going to say on air because I'm not know if I sure if I should. Dr. Dre and Snoop.
There's literally
allowed
5,000
to say
artists that you can think of when you think about LA or Atlanta or Miami.
There's an album called Death Certificate that's going to be on loop.
Attaboy.
We're going to play over and over and over. But
That's great.
I'm just telling you that it is odd to me that there is no musician synonymous with Dallas singularly. Texas is not just being known for being from Dallas.
Right.
And it's just odd that we don't have that.
It's not a community of art. It is a community of business.
Big bank accounts.
It is business
They buy
centric.
art, they don't make it.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Beneath them.
Golic Jr. said he's running late anyway, so we're good.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
Who?
Mike Golic Jr. is a guest on our show today, and he will be joining us after the break. Before the break, I will tell you about your CBD store. If you're looking for a better night's sleep, if you're having trouble sleeping, you're not staying asleep, you're waking up feeling groggy, your CBD store has blueberry CBN gummies that'll give you a great restful night's sleep. Arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet, products that can help with that. Gut health for you or your pet, they can help you there. They want to help your daily routine be better, like skincare. They can help you there. They can help you be focused throughout the course of the day. Your CBD store, first company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on those products, so they're going to meet and achieve a certain set of standards and tests. Stop by one of their 3 locations today, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store, where good health hits home. Golic Jr. talks Notre Dame and their likability next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I asked the question earlier in the show, is this Notre Dame team likable? It's been an easy team for a lot of people to dislike or hate across the course of college football history for a lot of different reasons, but they seem to be becoming more and more likable. I was with Alyssa Lang during the Orange Bowl. Actually, Josh Pate was in watching the game with us, and we brought that up multiple times, and it was interesting how we all kind of agreed. And then I see Ari Wasserman write an article about it yesterday that this Notre Dame team just so likable, and that's different for what the program's been for so long. Interested in just what people think about that now. Part of that, I believe, is their head coach. And Notre Dame put a video out of the Orange Bowl, sort of their highlight film. This was Marcus Freeman at halftime of that game.
It's a 7-point game. We get the ball first. So just understand, that's all it is right now. Now, what do we have to do to change it? We got to be able to run the ball, right? We got to be able to run the ball, right? And we got to stop the run. That's all it is, man. We ain't about to panic. They don't need to be nervous. It's a fight. It's a 7-point ball game, and we get the ball first. It's a fight. Go out there and fight.
So you hear more and more from Marcus Freeman, Greg, and he becomes a guy you want to root for. Honestly, a guy that you just want to see be successful because I'm gonna tell you this. I can't wait to have Bobby Carpenter on the show tomorrow morning because Bobby played with him, knows him, friends with him still today. And just to get a little bit of the curtain peeled back on what he was as a player and just kind of what he's like a little bit more behind the scenes. But it's tough not to root for Marcus Freeman.
I think he's awesome. I think he's really authentic. I think he's a great guy to be around. I've really enjoyed getting to know him over the years. I mean, it's been a while now. We go back 5 or 6 years now. I haven't called his games when he was a coordinator at Cincinnati. So I've always thought the world of him, how he empowers the players, how hard they play for him. I think you can always tell how a team and the relationship with their coach based on how they play for that coach. Like that to me always is a great indicator. Like how hard do they play? And he gets the most out of his guys, man. Like they're not always the most talented team on the field, but they do the little things, they find a way. So I really have a lot of respect for him and how he's put this thing together.
And we talked also earlier just about the team and how they operate, what they do, kind of how likable they are. And they're a little bit of an old school team. And there are a lot of us that appreciate that and like that and are not overly reliant on an individual or one facet of their game to be successful. They can do it on special teams. It can be defense. It can be secondary, defensive line. It's fun to watch in a lot of different ways. And Marcus Freeman sitting down actually with Aaron Taylor talking about what they learned from the Northern Illinois loss, because we've heard this a lot. Josh Pate brought this up a little bit earlier with the, Michigan, Ohio State. You could never say that it was a good thing for Ohio State to lose to Michigan. An Ohio State person could never say that. But hearing the positives that some coaches do take from losses is always interesting. This was Freeman talking about what they took away after the Northern Illinois loss.
Well, I think there's lessons to learn from losing. And there's lessons that only losing can teach you. And, I remember telling the team in our Monday team meeting after NIU is that this could be the greatest thing that happens to this football program and to this team if we utilize the lessons that it taught us. And more than any schematic thing, I think it was that we had to learn how to handle success. Myself, I've never been in that position where you win the big game early. We had a big win over A&M obviously this year, and I think I as a leader had to learn how to handle success. We as a program had to learn how to handle that. Now the challenge is to make sure you don't lose that pain. You don't lose the lessons that you learn about yourself and about your program when you're at your lowest moments. And so I always tell these guys, keep the pain and understand that if we can continue to keep the pain and prepare the way we're preparing, it can determine an outcome that we want.
And just moments like that, answers like that, Greg, just it should take it further as to just why he's somebody that's been able to do what he's been able to do with this team, overcome the injuries they've overcome. Battle back from deficits that they've battled back from. When you hear his demeanor and his message to that club every week, pretty much.
Well, and that's, I think, once you realize how this team is kind of wired, it's not that surprising to see how they play the way they play. Like they have some edge, they have some. I don't want to say like they're all blue collar. I mean, there's some highly recruited players, but they don't play like they're highly recruited. You know what I mean? Like they play like they have something to prove, and there's a lot to appreciate with that.
So we'll continue that conversation. McElroy Jr., former Notre Dame offensive lineman, will join us next right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. $9:33, Wednesday, January 15th. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to go right to the Buyers Right Hotline. Welcome in Mike Golic Jr., former Notre Dame football player. Mike, we were talking about the likability of this football team. I'm sure you've seen the other side of that for a long time. Why people don't like Notre Dame, root against Notre Dame, find it easy to hate Notre Dame. But there seems to be a likability factor with this team that just sort of ups the ante every single week. Have you noticed that, or because you obviously like the team so much because you played there, went to school there, that that's not something that's really noticeable for you?
No, I definitely have noticed it, and it's made me very uncomfortable because, to your point, my whole life has been used to Notre Dame being one of the polarizing teams. And, that's fine. I understand the source of a lot of those feelings for a lot of people. But hearing the praise for Notre Dame, hearing people talk about how they're rooting for them now here, all of it's been very different. And so I know there's different factors people talk about, obviously Marcus Freeman and just his personality and his approach to dealing with the team and the media certainly could be a part of that. I think the underdog nature of a team that's battled so many injuries throughout so much of the season and had that well documented, I think kind of gets to the core of a lot of why people like sports. And so all those things can factor into it, but there's no doubt there's a different feeling around this team nationally and around them conversation-wise than I've ever experienced in my Notre Dame lifetime.
It's definitely different. How much of it you think has to do with Marcus Freeman, though? I think he is such a likable figure. He's so engaging. He's so personable. There's just a lot, I think, to like about everything that I think people have seen from him the last couple of years. So how much of it do you think has to do with his personality?
Oh, I think that's a huge part of it, Greg. Like you just, like you said, to a man, and I remember talking to Riley Leonard when he was on the show with us about, he said Marcus Freeman treats everyone in that organization like they're the starting quarterback, everyone inside that building, and that kind of extends to how he treats the fans, how he treats media, and how he interacts with everyone. You feel like you're having that genuine experience with someone who, is in one of these prestige jobs, is in a position where he wouldn't have to act like this necessarily if he didn't want to. And so I think you combine that with now, too, what we've seen from Marcus this year. The first couple of seasons, they were marred by the bad moments, the 10 men on the field against Ohio State, the losses to Marshall and Stanford before that. And so now you get to this season, and yes, you suffer the NIU loss, but ever since then, it's been foot all the way down on the gas. We have seen the most aggressive Marcus Freeman. We've seen it pop up in the content that Notre Dame's put out. We've seen it in Notre Dame's fourth down aggressiveness, some of the decisions in games. And so I think him going out and taking that next step as a coach, in addition to the great personality and all the natural charisma, I think has given a lot of people reason to go, oh, okay, Marcus Freeman is arriving now, and we're still feeling like we get that same access to that guy that feels rare.
Visiting with Mike Golic Jr., played his college football at Notre Dame, previewing Monday night's national championship game. The most impressive part of this team this season's got to be just overcoming the injuries that they have and different players being able to plug in and be able to go and be able to be productive when either they weren't asked on, hadn't played a snap, or just didn't think that they could be as capable or near as capable as the person in front of them. That's going to take a toll Monday night, one way or the other. You're just going to be down certain guys. Guys aren't going to be 100%. What do you look at from a very fundamental baseline perspective has to happen for Notre Dame to knock off Ohio State?
Yeah, well, fundamental baseline, and you guys both know and appreciate this. Like, I'm always going to look at the offensive line first and say what you want about all the injuries to Notre Dame, but once they got through a stretch early in the season where, Ashton Craig went down in the middle of that offensive line, and they had to reshuffle some guys around a little bit, it had been largely the same group with, Anthony Knapp and Billy Schrouth and Pat Coogan and Rocco Spindler and Emil Wagner for the majority of the season. And that continuity had done so much for them offensively to help them to continue to grind out a living on the ground with their quarterback and their running backs being the bulk of the offense. And now that that's been compromised, can this group, whether it's Tosh Baker going in at left tackle, whether it's Charles Jagasaw, who made his season appearance in the game against Penn State at right guard and acquitted himself really well, those guys are going to have to stabilize early because they're at the final boss now. This Ohio State defensive front is playing incredible ball. And so at a baseline, if they can't figure this out, if Mike Denbrock can't figure out some of the tricks that we saw in the second half to manufacture offense and give these guys a chance to keep their feet under them up front, it could be a very long day for them against Ohio State.
What do you make of how they've kind of been able to find ways offensively without having a crazy explosive attack? It's not that they can't throw it downfield. They just haven't done it with as much regularity because they haven't needed to. This team, I think, does a great job of adjusting to what's needed to find success and find victories. So in the event in which it does become a bit of a track meet, is there any way this Notre Dame team can keep up?
Yeah, track meet may be tough because even though they've got, some speed on the roster, Jaden Harrison at wide receiver, who is a dynamic returner, certainly has some of that speed. Chris Mitchell, the grad transfer from FIU, was supposed to be one of those guys. We saw Jaden Greathouse make some moves in the open field. Jordan Faison, the lacrosse two-way star, is also a guy that's got some wiggle, but it's not on par with the athletes that you've got at Ohio State. But we saw Notre Dame can move the ball through the air. And Greg, what's impressed me most about that, and, as a quarterback, I'm sure you can appreciate, you are what you rep. And at a certain point, this Notre Dame offense for the majority of the year has been a grinded out offense with Riley Leonard's legs, with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Prince's legs. But then you get to the game against Penn State, and all of a sudden you've got to air it out a little bit more. The matchup sort of dictates that. And for quarterbacks and receivers alike to be ready to shoulder that workload, knowing they haven't had the volume, especially in games. Like I think Jaden Greathouse in the last 5 games leading up to his 7-catch performance against Penn State had 6 catches total in those games, was averaging like a catch a game. And so for the receivers and quarterbacks to stay as ready as they've been, despite the fact that their number hasn't been called, is just a testament, again, to, Marcus Freeman, to Mike Denbrock, and the way that they've kept this team prepared. And so that, to me, is what gives them a chance, is they've been able to call on these certain aspects of their game, even when they haven't been used frequently, and still find some success there.
Mike Golic Jr. with us on the Buyers Right Hotline. A lot of conversation about how much Notre Dame is in man coverage. I think Greg gave me 56%. A little bit earlier in one of our commercial breaks, we were talking about it, but they're great at it. And a lot of people say, well, that's a problem because Jeremiah Smith and Meke Buka and these other receivers, Tate and company, are just going to be able to run past them, get open. How do you view that part of this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's a great challenge, and Al Golden is someone who's shown he's up to that for a while now. And, I go back to the Ohio State matchup last year when Notre Dame and Ohio State played in South Bend in that phenomenal game that went down to the last couple of plays. And you had a wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr., that was pretty damn good for the Buckeyes, and who, albeit dealt with an ankle injury in the back half of that game. But you look at the beginning of the game, Benjamin Morrison, they gave him a chance to go great on great and lock him up, but there were plenty of reps where they were rolling a second body his way. They were finding creative ways to give help to that side of the field and mix up the look. And I think dealing with great receivers, and you have to start with Jeremiah Smith and work your way down from this Ohio State receiver room, even though Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, and these guys are all incredibly talented, you cut off the head of the snake first. And so I think you treat him almost like you treat a great pass rusher up front, where, hey, when you've got an Abdul Carter coming your way, what do you want to do? You want to throw screens at him. You want to throw guys coming backside and cutting him. You want to run right at him. You want to give him a lot to think about. And I think that's the same thing. Even doing it with man coverage, you want to give him a lot to think about where that's going to come from. How do you disguise that? When do you, dictate throwing multiple bodies at him? And the one thing that Al Golden's always been able to do is mix up the bag defensively. This group, even now as deep into the depth chart as they are, seems to have a great understanding of the game plans that their coach tasks them with and how to go out and execute those at a high level. And so I think variety is the spice of life is kind of going to be the way they have to approach defending, especially Jeremiah Smith in that receiver room.
Does it have to be kind of a perfect game for them to win it? Because, look, they've already kind of proven that if it's imperfect, they'll find a way. If it's perfect, they'll find a way. The team that continually is doubted, and yet it never really matters. So I get the sense that they're supremely confident, regardless of what the circumstances are. But from the outside, it feels like things really have to go down a very narrow path for them to find success. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think this Notre Dame team has always been about winning in the margins, whether it's, the extensive conversations that we've had about the middle eight during this playoff run, where they've been so great at the end of halves and starting second halves here. Special teams has worked their way into that. The defense, obviously, being the best takeaway unit in the country, the best points off turnover unit in the country. And then for Notre Dame in this run, winning on third down, Notre Dame hasn't allowed an opposing offense to convert it over a 30% clip. And offensively themselves, they've converted it 50% on third down, which is a huge uptick from the regular season. And so, you guys know those are all money downs and distances, critical situations. And to have to constantly be at your best in those situations is a really difficult thing to do. That takes an incredibly high level of focus and intensity now over a really long playoff run where the war of attrition is starting to add up. And we saw what looked like the gas running out of the tank for Notre Dame in the first quarter of that Penn State game. And so, yeah, that's the worry, is they run out of gas there. And so they are going to need to play close to their perfect game at this point, because Ohio State is incredibly talented and because the attrition has not stopped for this Irish roster.
All right, Mike, we were talking a little bit earlier in the show about off-season viewing now that football's winding down, trying to find a couple of different things to watch. Has there been a show, a movie that has popped up for you now that things are slowing down a bit that you've been able to watch that you would recommend?
Ooh, all right. Great one there. I would say, the Bill Lawrence suite of products. If you haven't watched Shrinking on Apple TV Plus, phenomenal show. If you haven't watched Bad Monkey, that was also on Apple TV Plus, phenomenal show. Vintage Vince Vaughn in Bad Monkey, like prime, quick wit, all of the stuff from Vince Vaughn that you've come to expect from him over the years. I really, really loved and enjoyed. So those ones were at the top of my list here. And I think, and if you haven't gone to it already, I would always say this. Recommending shows is hard. There's a lot of content out there. I understand that. If you haven't watched Shoresy on Hulu,
so good.
And if you're familiar at all with the Letterkenny suite of products there, it is short, it is quick burst, it's great repetition. And if you've ever spent time around hockey guys, man, oh man, does it feel like a warm embrace from a friend you haven't seen in a while. So I'll always recommend Shoresy for the offseason crowd.
The Sioux are just so good.
They're beauties, absolute beauties, as are the gyms.
Okay, I haven't even heard of that, but I'm gonna have to go check it out now.
Shoresy's amazing, dude. You'll love it. It's really good. It's funny.
Golic, appreciate the time, man. Thanks as always. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, there you go. Mike Golic Jr. joining us on the Buyers Right Hotline. You can follow him on Twitter at Mike Golic Jr. Co-host with his dad on the Gojo and Golic show. You can catch that on YouTube. So. All right, appreciate him talking some Notre Dame in the national championship game. They get Ohio State Monday night. We spent a lot of time on it today. When we come back, a bad box score of the day and some very surprising news around potential Alabama recruitment of a certain player. We'll tell you who it is and ask Greg if he thinks it's real right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. That is not Lee Greenwood that we're coming back to at 9:49 a.m. Wednesday, January 15th on Jocks 94.5. But before we get to our bad box score of the day and a very surprising recruiting note involving Alabama, Greg, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Shannara Flooring's great group of people led by their owner, Fu, who's just terrific. And I know, look, when you are replacing your floors, it's a pretty significant decision, not just financially, but the possible ramifications could be felt for years and years and years. You got to go with a contractor that you could trust. Will they show up on time? Will they respect your home? Will they get the job done right? And at Shannara Flooring, they understand that it is a big decision, and they want to put your mind at ease so that you don't have to worry. That's why Fu, the owner, built his team on a foundation of trust and integrity. So whether you're replacing old carpet or upgrading to hardwood, you can rely on Fu and his team at Shannara Flooring. So when it's time for new flooring, ask yourself, call who? Call Fu. Call him direct at 205-518-6423 and see all the new styles for 2025 at shannaraflooring.com.
We got Bobby Carpenter tomorrow, former Ohio State linebacker, Marcus Freeman's teammate in college at 8 a.m. Wim Sanderson will be with us at 9 a.m. Three-man front coming up next, but we're going to get to the bad box scores of the day in a moment. Yet Matt Hayes sidetracks that conversation with a report out, Greg, that Carson Beck had two teams reach out to him immediately after he entered the transfer portal: Miami and Alabama. Also, Matt reports that Georgia did make a push to have Carson Beck return as their starting quarterback.
Yes.
Also, Carson Beck does have his entire right arm tatted.
Go weigh him down.
Some people would think that would be prohibitive to throwing the ball well. I don't know why this is like surprising for anybody. Good player goes in the portal with experience, has proven to play at a crazy high level, was the number one overall pick coming into the season. And all of a sudden people are surprised that Bama wouldn't at least explore the possibility of maybe bringing him to town. It's not necessarily an indictment on Ty Simpson. It's not an indictment on the rest of the roster. It's just an acknowledgement that we have seen Carson Beck play very, very high level football at the college level. So I think it makes perfect sense.
Like you said, you see a super talented player at a position of importance and need go into the portal, and you put your feelers out. You see if it's feasible. Is it possible? And I'm sure there are multiple instances that a lot of coaches could tell us, hey, we didn't think we really had a shot at this guy, but we said, hey, here's our situation. Here's what you're looking at. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's on our team.
Yes.
So I put that in the category of Kalen DeBoer and his staff doing their due diligence. And maybe be surprising to some, but yeah, I don't.
Would you be doing your job if you didn't explore the possibility?
No. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of people should probably feel good about, the fact that their team's out there doing that.
100%. Like if I were Fox and Cole Cubelic's contract was up, I'd reach out. Like, yeah, maybe we can get this guy. Like, why wouldn't you? Of course you would. Just like CBS and NBC. And if Talk 99.5 wanted to start a rival sports show and Cole's deal was up, like, I'd reach out. Of course. Why wouldn't you? He's a proven commodity. Carson Beck is that. It's no different than any other industry in the world. If a guy is a proven commodity that has high-level output in his resume, you can explore that possibility. Like I said, not an indictment on what you have, purely an admission that if we can go get a guy that has at times been the best player in the sport at his position, we'll roll the dice there.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get to our bad box score of the day quickly. Actually, plural bad box scores. I'm not even going to go into the details here because I don't have half of the box scores from a lot of these games. But I did want you to know that Loyalty College Prep went down to Dallas College Brookhaven 90-41 in men's basketball.
What's Loyalty
yesterday?
What's Loyalty College?
Loyalty College, they look like the Bobcats.
No way.
Dallas College Brookhaven are the Bears.
I feel like Loyalty College are the Rebels.
Dallas College Brookhaven shot 10 of 25 from behind the three-point line, 53% from the floor.
Wow, okay.
To be able to lock up that win. It was a nice one for them. Also, Baltimore City Community College. They are the
Wires?
No.
Oh.
No.
That's a good. Well, I should make my wife go back and watch that with me again. I want to do that.
They're the Bearcats.
They're not. They're actually the Panthers, and they went down to the Prince George's Community College.
They're the Lakers.
No.
The Royals.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That was right there.
Kings.
Owls.
We've had them before.
Baltimore City goes to 1-13 on the season, 1-7 in conference, as they fall 92-37 in women's hoops yesterday.
Ouch.
28-15 in the first, 19-10 in the second, 30-6 in the third, 16-6 in the fourth.
That's where got him.
Baltimore City shot 70 times. They made 13.
That's gross.
from the floor, not the 3-point
Gross.
line.
Oh, okay. Still gross.
They shot 17 threes in the game.
Okay, that's respectable.
They made one.
That is not respectable.
They were out rebounded 71 to 54.
Hey, they getting after it, though.
Prince George's Community College had 44 defensive rebounds.
That's good hustle.
Ooh.
They just wanted it more. I'm
Better
here
than
for that.
No.
Better than Albert.
There were 44 defensive rebounds available
Oh.
because Baltimore City also had 18 offensive rebounds.
So they hustled at least.
That's 62 potential rebounds on one side of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Well, and shoot 13 to 70?
Okay.
can't make them all.
This
You
isn't
can't, and they didn't.
This isn't mid box score. It's bad box score.
Baltimore City, by the way, limited it to 37 turnovers yesterday.
All right.
It happens.
Triton College won at Illinois Valley Community College yesterday in women's hoops, 95 to 24.
Ugh.
Your score at the half, 46 to 9.
All right. There was effort in the second half. Good coach.
I'm here for it.
Illinois Valley Community College did not reach double digits in any period of the game.
Only
boy.
single dig. Wow.
Single dig.
I could also offer you up DSA Prep, who lost at Columbia State Community College 128 to 46. That's in men's basketball, by the way. 68-24 at the half. Columbia State shot 61%, 54 of 88 from the floor, 9 of 23 from three. 76 rebounds in the game.
Hustle. It's the name of the game.
They had 4 players with double-digit rebounds.
That a baby.
4.
Four.
Sheesh.
Double dig.
Any of those qualify as all-timers, Greg?
Nope.
Nope. Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even there.
Nice try.
That's your
Nice
bad
try,
box
Owls.
scores of the day. We're back tomorrow. 3-man front is coming at you next, followed by Paul Feinbaum.